Reverse game breaks will get you loaded up for more speed. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, through the game, tap, this win it. Rush you again, here for the first minute. Carry my team there 6 minutes.
Rocky Top!
To do this. We blessed to wake up. We blessed to be standing by each other. We cannot take these opportunities for granted. There's people that wish they'll be doing what we was doing. There's people that call us crazy for doing what we do. But they don't understand. Every time we touch this grass, it's a certain mentality you gotta have. And you can't just turn it on. We gotta wake up with it. We gotta train it. We ought to make each other better. I need you. I need you.
I think one thing I will say is that I care about my guys. You know, I have a real issue with people touching my quarterback, running back, stuff like that. Like, if you're in the backfield, you're my family. Especially if you're on my line, you're even more my family. You know, that's kind of my mindset when I walk on the field. That's kind of how I play the game. I'm blocking to protect the man beside me and the man behind me, not for personal growth. Because you keep everybody healthy, you win ball games. So, I'm excited.
Coach G, he loves his players, and that's one thing that I want to say, like, that I really love. Man, just taking that extra step with you, you know, just taking that extra step to just get to know you better, taking that extra step just to know you as a person. And that's just outside of Coach G, that's the room, that goes from all the way down, all the way up from the assistants. And that's just the consistency of just what our room is built on: love, passion, and we working hard. And that is just built into the foundation, and we're just going to keep that culture, and by just bringing people in and showing them love and showing them that we love them. But then when it gets on the field, we got to whip some butt. So that's really what it is. Sir.
Make the decision. You're either a Vol or you're not, through thick and thin.
But you know what? Let's talk a little Vols. That is not me trying to take any shine away from the phenomenal channel Talking Vols and my guy Boogie Bentley runs, so shout out to them. But let's talk a little Vols here.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. The band is back together. The boys are here. The boys are back in town. I should have played that for the intro. The boys are back in town. Dauber's in the house. The X Factor is here. The lights are on, so Coach Jay is clearly here. If the lights are on, he is going to be here, and we're going to talk Tennessee football. Man, I tell you boys what, I told you in the back room, this may be a 3-hour stream. We may be live all night long. I said, you guys are free to leave. You guys are excused from the table. X was like, Daddy, can I go get a snack? I said, you're excused, son. You can go play Xbox and you can go have a snack, because we may be live for 3 hours, because I am. And look, sometimes I try to gauge the fan base based off of maybe number of people in the chat when we're talking spring camp, maybe based off of social media, off of Twitter. Are they talking about basketball? Are they talking about baseball? Or are they fired up for spring camp? And I don't think there's as much energy around spring camp, but let me tell you guys something. We're 3 practices in. I love this football team. Sam Pendleton, That's my dude. I want that guy on this show so bad. So bad. He left me on red. But guess what? Mama follows me. And if you leave me on red, I'm going to have to DM Mom and say, hey, Mom, we need Sam on the show. How about that, man? How do you love a guy, Dauber, that he sits down with the media, he says, he's talking about and I know you're a big Redskins fan. You're a hog. You love the old Hogs. If you know, you know. Anyway, he was talking about old school football. And he said, the Hogs had a mentality, man. You hit my guy, you take a cheap shot on my guy, I'm going to be there to defend him. And he's talking about Nico. He's talking about his running backs. He's going to stand up for his brothers. His appearance with the media, man, that fired me up.
Yeah, that's what you want to hear from one of your big uglies. Guys that are going to get after it, going to protect their brother beside them. I like a lot of these guys on the offensive line, and some of the things that I've seen and heard out of the first couple of days of practice here. I hope that some other things come along, but I think there's going to be much improvement from last year. And last year we entered the season thinking the offensive line was going to be a big asset, and it kind of underwhelmed, honestly. So I'm expecting some good things from some of these guys.
X, where are you at mentally? Where are you at when you think about football? When you think about this football team, like, are you fired up for spring camp, or is it kind of like a whole lot of questions? Where are you at? Where's the heartbeat at?
Well, it's funny, Boog. It's kind of actually both, really. Yeah, like I'm really excited that that spring practice is here. We still got a little ways to go for saying we can officially kick off and everything. But yeah, then the other side of that coin is just, yeah, man, we got to think there's a brand new football team that we're really kind of looking at here. A bunch of young cats getting ready to step up, take the field. I mean, of course, we got Nico coming back as, the captain of the ship. But yeah, man, I'm very excited, but I also have a lot of question marks in a few certain areas, and a lot of guys of, who's going to step up, who's going to be, the leader of this group, whether it be the running backs, the wide receivers, the offensive line. So, but it's very exciting though. I think that's the excitement of it, is to see who is going to step up and what does this team look like going forward.
Yeah, agreed. My headspace, Boogie, I'm kind of in that. It's still development for me, man, right? You're in a development year. So it's going to be all about how this team can grow. And it is not totally new, but a very, very new squad we're going to be looking at. But that's exciting, man. It's going to breed a lot of competition on that practice field. And I don't want to read too much into the tea leaves. I know I sent you a video the other day. I was breaking down like 2 seconds of a video for 25 minutes last night. But I will say this. This team, when you watch the limited amount of time that I've seen, there's been a lot more intensity in the practices than the last 2 years in spring. So that I'm really excited about.
Did you guys? I know we were talking about Nico's press conference from was it today, or was it whenever it was?
Yeah,
I think it was practice. Was it today? I don't know. I can't remember if it was today or practice too. Regardless, they said something happened at practice that got under Nico's skin, and they were trying to kind of get him to give some information. It's like, no, that's family business. What happens on the grass stays on the grass. I think Nico is showing signs of being a leader of this football team. And then something like I loved hearing from him is when they were talking about the receivers, and they were like, are you kind of in there because they don't have a veteran guy? Are you trying to lead that wide receiver group? And he's like, no, I went to Chris and said, it's time for you to step up and be the man. That's the sign of a true leadership. When you can go to Chris Brazel and say, hey, this ain't my job. You're the leader of that wide receiver room. You need to take over and lead. I love it, man. I've watched so many clips. And that's why I told you guys it could be a 3-hour stream, because I got a couple that I want to watch, a couple of player interviews that I want to watch for specific reasons. Then we're going to listen to Tim Banks. We're going to listen to Joey Halsley, and we're going to kind of pause and provide commentary and talk about it, man, because I'm falling in love with this team. And Coach Jay, you mentioned that it's a rebuild, and that excites me. There's something refreshing. There's something exciting about new blood, right? New, fresh blood. And I love that Josh Heupel throws a lot of these young guys to the media. Right out of the gate, you got David Sanders,
Mhm.
Isaiah Campbell, Ethan Utley, all these young dudes going out there and meeting with the media. I love it. Let me catch up with you guys in the chat. Got 128 people watching. It might be too early to do this. We get to 250 people watching live. We'll give away a free shirt. Why not? By the way, spoiler alert, coming soon. Talkin VAWLS Nike apparel. Not just for me and Dauber, but for you guys too. Bonfire has signed a deal with Nike, so we're going to be dropping some Talkin VAWLS Nike merch. Foul Mings in the house drops a $2 super chat. Says Door Fee, GBO. Appreciate you, my friend. Will Dyer for $5 says Door Fee. What's up, Will? It is good to see you in the chat. Todd Landers for $5. Door Fee, first time I've been on time for a show in a couple of weeks. How y'all doing? We are doing fantastic. I'm sorry that we weren't on time. It was Coach's fault. He was late. We had to wait on him to get in here before we could go live. Adrian Wells has been a member for 23 months. We appreciate that. Tony for 13 months. Thank you, Tony Canada. Eric Jones, he's flexing, man. He's flexing. 6 months as a member. We appreciate you, Eric. Bleed Orange for 35 months says, what's up, Boogie Coach JX and Dauber? Appreciate you, Bleed Orange. We've also got Foul Mean gifting a free Talkin VAWLS membership. We appreciate that. Fiero Hughes becomes a member. Guys, if you're not a member, hit that join button. It's right down below. It is $1. If you watch the live streams, the videos, if you enjoy the content, you like the videos every day, think about hitting that join button. $1. That sport goes a long way. I'm thinking of calling an audible. I don't know. We don't put anything behind a paywall. I'm thinking about this fall doing a members-only stream every Sunday night. So the fan call-in show would be the tailgate show. Sunday Night Live would be a members-only stream. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Set the Nader for $5 says boom, boom, room entry fee. We appreciate you, my man. Peyton K, biggest donation of the night, $10. $10 for a door fee. I guess I'll update the leaderboard. And we'll throw Peyton K on there for the $10. We appreciate that. Very generous super chat. Thank you for the door fee. If you don't have the money to give, don't ever give, but do smash the thumbs up. That's free and easy. And you can hit share and put it out there on Twitter. We would appreciate it. Wade, not only has he been a member for 39 months, but he also has a Talkin VAWLS logo tattooed on himself. Best time of the year, basketball, baseball, and spring camp. Man, oh, man. Can't wait for football to be back. I think this team is better than the last 2 years for sure. A lot more talent on the team. We shall see. I'm excited too, man. I'm excited too. And we talk so much about culture. And that's why I want to watch a couple of videos here, because you see the personality. And, you know, we had the opportunity to have David Sanders on the show. You saw that personality then. Now you're going to see it when he meets with the media. But now we've got Isaiah Campbell who met with the media. And I love this. I love the start of this because Brent Hubbs asked him, have you had your basically your come to Jesus moment with Rodney Garner, where you go from recruit, where everybody's kissing your butt, everybody's telling you how great you are, to now you're just another defensive lineman in the room, and Coach G has a certain expectation you have to live up to? So great question from Brent Hubbs, and then let's take a listen to Isaiah Campbell here. And I'm going to let it play for a little bit because I like what he has to say.
Yeah, I think I just might have had mine just a couple of minutes ago. So Coach G, he just told me that seriously, that exact same thing, and I was like, wow. I was like, okay, well, I was like, let me get up, let me we do DAR, you know what I'm saying? And so I just had to DAR, I just had to just go reactivate, just had to get my mind right and to say, okay, I'm gonna get to the standard. I'm gonna be that University of Tennessee standard. That moment was was me running after practice and just getting extra reps in. And so, everybody's off the field, but I'm always trying to get that 1% better. And so that was that moment when Coach G was running me, and I had to run about like 15, 20 sprints, something like that. You know what I'm saying? But just having that progression over days, that's going to help a lot. And that's going to build great mental fortitude. So, yeah.
You're talking about a guy that should be a senior in high school right now. He should be going through his last semester of high school, but he's talking about how he can see Coach G showing him that tough love, how that is building character, how that's building strength, the Tennessee, like that mindset. I love it. You guys have any comments on Isaiah Campbell? We're going to keep it rolling because he says a lot of great stuff here.
I think it's great. It shows the caliber of athletes that Coach Heupel and staff are bringing in. The type that want to be coached, that are eager to be coached and eager to learn. And we've said it over and over. Coach G is, who better to come learn from? The dude is one of the best, if not the best in the country. And, that's, you love to see that and hear those words from a young guy.
Yeah, just nice that he's okay with being coached hard. We want defensive linemen, and I know Gardner demands defensive linemen that are coached hard, that don't shy away. When asked that question, it's very telling. If he shells up, right, and kind of keeps that to himself, maybe it got to him, but he smiled, man. He chuckled. He talked about how it makes him better. Yeah, 5-star hard on this guy, guys, but 5-star talent. Isaiah Campbell going to be special at the University of Tennessee. You can bookmark that one.
Yeah, and then just
go ahead, X.
Oh, I was just gonna say, just right off the bat, like I said, you could just kind of sense it from like his sense of character. Yeah, I really love it a lot. But what intrigued me more is that when he said that, he was like, yeah, he said, Rodney Gardner, wants me to put in that 1% better. Because like I said, like you can give it, you're 99, but it's that 1% is what matters the most. And I love that a lot.
Jason says he likes the idea of a members only Sunday in the fall. Yeah, and we may even open it up and make it a fan call-in show, but it would only be available to the members. I don't have anything behind the paywall like that. It's just something I'm kicking around. We shall see. We shall see. Corey Smith for 20. That's an Orange Boy. We love $20 super chats because they are orange, and we get to play the clip.
Rocky Top!
Shout out Corey, says Dorfy GBO. Very generous super chat. 5-star heart. As soon as
I'm glad he caught it. I'm glad he caught it.
I was
just typing. Typing. I'm glad you caught that, bleed orange.
You can't even tell that joke because then they're going to make fun of you. So you told the joke and then you had to follow it up with 5-star talent also. Like you can't. Just, You got to clear the air there. All right, let's hear more. I'm telling you, I love this kid. Love this kid.
Look, yeah, I didn't do anything bad. It's just Coach G room. That's just how he runs it. You got to be tough to be on D lines. You got to be mentally tough. So I'm gonna be a tough dude.
Yes, sir.
Apparently, Ethan Utley said that he was slouching in his chair, and that's why Coach G he had his come to Jesus moment. So they're asking if that's what caused it with Isaiah. That's why. Look at him, man. I love it.
Why are you slouching in Coach G's chair, man? That is inexcusable, man. You better sit straight up. Pay attention. Exactly. Pay attention, young buck.
Mm-hmm. I can't pronounce this name. Anyway, 98. If you have an iPhone, you can't do it from the app. If you have an iPhone, you got to pull up desktop. Whether you can do it from your mobile phone, but it's got to be on the desktop, and then you can join. Then when you come back to the app, you'll show as a member on the channel. iPhones. First thing I could tell you about an iPhone is to throw it in the trash and get an Android. Chase Tidwell's been a member for 30 months. We appreciate you, Chase. Thank you for the support. Let's hear more. Look at that, man. Gosh, just the personality. I love it. Yeah. I hope you guys are enjoying this because I had plans just to talk spring camp, but gosh, these all the players. I could listen to Sam Pendleton. I could listen to Isaiah Campbell, Ethan Utley, Nico. There's so many guys that I could listen to. But we're going to listen to a couple.
Nah, I don't think I was slashing the chair. I don't think it was like that. I think Coach G, he liked to mess around, but business mean business, and he does that so you can get better for yourself and not because he has a grudge against you. I think.
Quick question, Boogie. Real quick on that note. You guys a top button guy when you wear a polo shirt like that?
No.
Or you like to leave one open? Yeah, I like to leave one open.
I leave the collar open, yeah.
He looking buttoned up and professional. All right, sorry to go.
But how is that? Like Butch Jones didn't his crew start that? And we kind of laughed about it. But a lot of these young kids, apparently, I don't know what's cool, man. I don't know what's cool. I go out in public, I'm like, I have no idea. Cool. Dauber does. Dauber and X know. They know what's up.
Do you even wear a polo shirt, Boogie?
To church, son. To church. I don't even wear them to church.
No drip.
I usually wear like a Tennessee pullover. I'm like, it's still chilly outside. We're gonna throw this pullover on and rock it to church.
Most of the time I got two unbuttoned, letting the salad out.
Oh, hamburger meat all hanging out.
Yeah. I'm about to say the only time I say I have my collar button is like if I'm going to church or if I'm going for a job interview or something. That's the only time I'll have like the top buttoned up, but I just, just leave it unbuttoned, have this one right here.
talking buttons.
I was going to say the things that we talk about. This is why I told you we're going to be live
Talking polos
for 3
Talking
hours.
polos.
For 3 hours.
Yeah.
There's a method to what he does and why he does it. How much is it important to hear from Bryson Easton and some of those guys about understanding the whole process?
Yeah, that's a great question because Jackson Moy, Bryson Easton, Tyree West, everybody in the room has helped me so much. It's just like a family. Like D-line is like a family, man. We make a sack, we all make it together. You get what I'm saying? We celebrate together. And man, just that help from just the older guys, just that confirmation, just teaching me on the plays, just the little things, how to get my feet down, just extra reps after practice, like with Caleb Herring. He was over there just helping me. And I think that's a great brotherhood, great bonding. And that has been very like essential for me because I just love how I'm bonded with the guys and just meshing with them.
You played D-end, D-tackle in high school.
Yeah.
Where do they have you at now?
I'm D-tackle. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I'm a D-end. They're like, nah, you D-tackle. I was like, no. But nah, I love it though. I love it at D-tackle. I love just the roughness, the physicality with it. I thought I was a speed guy. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be at the edge. I'm 265. They're like, nah, get down, but down. I'm like, no. And so I'm now 280. And so now, honestly, I'm a 3-tech, that type of build. And honestly, I don't have no problem with it. I love it. And I just love being physical, just love what comes with it. And, I'm going to own up to it. I'm going to own up to being what I am. You get what I'm saying? 280. You get what I'm saying? Not 265. But I'm going to own up to it. And I'm going to play great.
We don't talk about the strength staff and the nutrition staff enough. And there's been continuity there. It's the same strength coach that came with Coach Hype from Central Florida. And it's like, look at David Sanders. David Sanders is already up to 290. He's already put on 20 pounds in like a couple of months since arriving. Well, 3 months maybe since arriving on campus. Look at Nico looked thick in his media appearance. And I know he added that little bit of weight as a freshman, added a little bit of weight as a redshirt freshman. Now he's looking. What did he say he wanted to play at? 225, 230? Like,
yeah, he said 225.
Knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And not to pat myself on the back here, Boogie, but I know I was fighting with people a lot when Nico first came in because everyone was talking about how he needed to put on more weight before he could play. But I always felt like he wasn't scrawny and skinny. He's wiry. When you got up next to Nico and shook his hand, you could tell how strong he was, and it 0% shocked that he started to put weight on that frame because he always had the build for it. Just naturally wiry guy, but very, very strong guy. So no, I'm excited about the weight room, man. Excited to hear Campbell talk about playing 3-tech, right? Because where did we think he was going to wind up? Weak side?
Yeah, and that's what he said. He thought that too. He thought that too, clearly.
Yeah, so just so everyone follows here who doesn't sprickety offensive line positions. So 3-tech is going to be, you got your center, you got your guard, then you got in between your guard and your tackle, which is going to be that true 3 technique, right? In between that guard and that tackle, that 3-tech, that 3-eye tech. So not weak side DN, but 3-tech is, for all intents and purposes, a defensive tackle, the way our defense is structured. So if this kid is playing on the inside, man, imagine a cheetah package with Jordan Ross, Gas. You know what I mean? And
yeah, because they're saying that Christian
inside.
Gas is listed as a defensive lineman.
Yeah, and Campbell on the inside in a year or two. That is wicked speed, not to be toyed with.
Sean Cross drops an Orange Boy. We love Orange Boys. We'll play the clip, even though Sean kind of gets on my nerves.
Rocky Top!
Sean firing shots across the bow on a Wednesday. We appreciate the $20 regardless. He says Boogie is butthurt because I'm busy on Sunday evening. You'll get your butt whipping again in April. Just kidding. Love you, my man. I'm thinking about doing a fan call-in show on Sunday and then going Tuesday for NCAA. I just hate jumbling everything up and moving it all around, but I want to do at least one or two, maybe a fan call-in in the middle of spring camp and then a fan call-in after the orange and white game. So I'll just stay dialed in. The best thing you can do is click the bell for notifications. Follow us all on social media. And you won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video or all that good stuff. So appreciate you, Sean. I'm tired of losing, but I did dominate Coach Jay on Sunday night. I mean, he never had a chance. He was out schemed. He was outplayed. We were more physical.
That one play where I threw the big touchdown and then my receiver dropped the football and celebrated as your guy recovered it. That was a brilliant play call, Boogie. Brilliant play call.
That sounds like it. That sounds like an EA thing to do.
It was
he literally started
it
celebrating.
It may have been the worst one I've ever seen. It's pretty bad.
It sounds like the EA curse got you.
He got me though. He got me.
We'll take the dubs any way we can get the dubs.
100%.
I think I probably need to come to South Bend next year, though. I think I owe you that. I need to come back to South Bend, and I'm sure you'll get plenty of revenge. Patreon link is in the description. You want to know what we're talking about? You can come play with me, X can't because he's got a stupid Xbox, but you can play with me, Dauber, and Coach Jay.
Hopefully they fix it next year.
Yeah. Well, that's the beautiful thing. But July, we got a brand new game coming. All right, here we go.
I'm going to be great.
What's your target? Are you trying to get to 290, 300?
Round 280. Honestly, that's what Coach G really said when we were talking. So really wanted me to get 280, springy, twitchy, getting up the ball, making plays, making sacks, pretty much.
He's got some hams on him, man.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm a jokester in the room. I got a little something, you get what I'm saying? But I don't think I'm a jokester. Not that much. I got a little something, though. Toughest
offensive line. This is good.
I would say Dave. He's pretty good, man. Once his kick step gets out there, he can move his feet very well. We have a new transfer from North Carolina,
Sam Pendleton.
Sam Pendleton, center or guard, but he's pretty good. And so I would say that it's just hand placement and this his mentality of the game. You can really just see like, okay, player. He's a veteran guy. He knows what he's doing. And just Lance and them just tackles, they know what they're doing. And so you really have to rest kind of differently. Not differently. You have to get upfield more because they're going to come with it. So that's what I would say.
We won't go through the entire Isaiah Campbell video, but me and Coach Jay talked Friday morning, first day of spring camp, of the questions going into spring camp. The wide receiver position, offensive line are the two big ones that stick out. So when you hear a defensive lineman come in and he's like, well, I mean, this is a veteran dude, hand placement. But the first name out of his mouth is true freshman David Sanders. I'm excited about new blood on the offensive line. Sorry, that's how I feel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Like I said, man. And, of course, he's been the talk, even during this past season was like, yeah, because we knew that we were going to lose our offensive line, like Coop, and Campbell and all those other guys. But, like, having David Sanders come in to kind of help fill in that depth position, it was just like, yeah. I mean, even though just like what they were saying with Nico, last year, there was like, because Coach, like you said, they were trying to, get at you, crucify you, all that kind of crazy stuff,
love it.
I mean, but it's kind of the same thing with David Sanders, right? I mean, it's like a true freshman lineman coming in. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm very excited for it. I really, really am. But remember the word freshman, and he's still learning. And like I said, he's going to get better as he progresses and as the season goes on. But we just have to keep that word in the back of our head, like, okay, he's a true freshman at lineman. So, but I'm still very excited to see what he can do, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at, one of the guys that he mentioned was Hurd. Hurd was a guy with a whole lot of, gusto when he was recruited, and you saw glimpses of it last year. But it was up and down. And I think just consistency is what I want to see from the offensive line, because I think that really contributed to some of the overarching problems offensively for this team last year, was the inconsistent offensive line play, which led to, up and down quarterback play. Really had we not had a running back that hoisted this team on his shoulders and just played like a beast, this offense really could have struggled. The one thing, Boogie, you brought up, questions going into this spring camp. The other thing, the wide receivers, and something that listen, we're 3 days in, but something I've seen, I think 2 days is drops. And I know it's early. I know it's kind of cool, and the air's a little crisp, but man, that's something that plagued this team last year. And I think that is something that I'm gonna place emphasis on, that this wide receiver group needs to clean up. Yeah, I know you've got some guys that should really, hopefully, take that next step, and Brazel and Mike Matthews, and then Jefferson transferring in. You got the talent, but I think that is something to keep an eye on. But you got to love it when your defensive line guy comes out and is talking about how tough it is, how you've got to get upfield and kind of approach practicing against your offensive line a little different than he's been used to. But it's you love seeing those guys push each other to be better. And as an offensive line, I think going up against the caliber and talent of a Coach G coached group, that's only going to make them better. So I love to see it.
You talking about the running backs, and then Tom says here, I haven't seen a tailback take over an entire offense on his back all year like that in the SEC. You saw it last year with Jalen Wright, and then you saw it the following year with Dylan Sampson. And it sounds so bad, and it sounds like I'm trying to disrespect Jalen Wright. I'm trying to disrespect Dylan Sampson. We've led the conference in rushing 2 years in a row, and I think there's something to be said about Josh Heupel's scheme and the way it's set up to have success as a running back, right? And I truly believe, and it's so hard to say this and not come off as disrespectful, but I truly believe that Peyton Lewis is going to come right in and do the same thing. But it may not be that one guy, right? It may be a group. It may be a group deal. And let's just go right into spring camp. We had practice number 2 on Monday. We had practice number 3 today, helmet and shoulder pads today. But the running back position, it's interesting because something that Kaner put in his practice report is that Star Thomas shines in routes on air. Said he has good hands out of the backfield. Coach, I think you said something similar in the film breakdown you did on him. You said 1,000 yards. He's 1,000-yard back running and catching the football. So, 2024, he had 20 receptions. 2023, he had 22 receptions. But where does he fit in? Because for me, when I'm reading the practice reports, whether it be VolQuest, 247 Sports, or Rocky Top Insider does a good practice report too, I'm hearing a lot of buzz about Dwan Morris, who's up to 200 pounds, a true freshman that a lot of people went after and said, 3-star you, we're not going to make it with 3 stars. Well, that kid is getting a lot of buzz early in spring camp. I think Peyton Lewis is RB1. I think Deshaun Bishop is going to get his share of carries. And then I think Star Thomas as well as Dwan Morris could find his way into the mix. Like, what do you think, Coach? Am I insulting Dylan Sampson too much? Am I insulting Jalen Wright? I think we could lead the conference in rushing again.
Yeah, I definitely think we could. I think the offensive line, I've talked about it the first day. When you look at them, and who knows, right? We'll see if they take a jump because it's all new pieces. But I can tell you one thing for sure. They're in a heck of a lot better physical condition than they were last year. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to take a look at them and see that they've trimmed down, slimmed down, that they're really lean, but holding a lot of strength. So that's a very encouraging sign. Now, there's a lot more to playing offensive line than just being in tremendous shape. There's execution, there's physical, playing rough, playing mean, playing dirty, whatever you want to call it, keeping your butt low, all that stuff that comes with it. But the way Josh Heupel's offenses are designed, then yeah, you're going to be pulling safeties from boxes. You're going to pull corners further out of the box, and you're going to lighten that box and run against favorable numbers. So I think we always will have an advantage in that game. Now, as far as time goes, competition, man. We'll keep on talking about it, but there's a ton of competition in that room, right? Like Peyton Lewis is a dude. By all accounts, Deshaun Bishop came in looking really, really good and really sharp. We'll see if he can stay healthy. Star Thomas, yeah, and then more, yeah, great. And I think it's going to take, we'll see how far these freshmen can get, but don't sleep on the kid from Georgia either, man. That kid can play as well. So
Justin Baker.
Justin Baker, yeah, his name was escaping me. We interviewed him on the channel. Good kid. Yeah, a lot of competition in that running back room. So whoever's going to get reps, you would think certainly is going to earn it and have to work hard to get it. So I'm really excited about our running back room. I think it's a bit of a sleeper of a room for us, certainly.
The pecking order right now in drills, according to Kaner, is Peyton Lewis, Deshaun Bishop, Star Thomas, Dwan Morris, Justin Baker. And what does that mean? What does that mean in spring camp? Not a lot.
Nothing.
A lot of times you see Josh Heupel's going to put the veterans at the front of the line. I think David Sanders was running with the threes today. That tells you, all you need to know. I think that's very much a Heupel thing early in camp. X, I know you said you were looking around. You were reading some practice notes. Anything stand out to you? We're only 3 practices in. But what have you seen? What are your thoughts?
Well, the one thing I said, I did see like a clip of Nico just throwing the rock around and stuff. And what I've kind of noticed is like his decision making. Like it looks like he's gotten a lot quicker at it, and like his feet are a lot happier too. Like I seen it kind of remind me of like an old Peyton out there. You know what I'm saying? Just with those quick, happy feet, and then just making a quick decision. Like it looks like Nico's gotten really faster at just going through, like saying, just reading it, and I said just throwing the ball really well. So that's pretty encouraging to see right there. But talking about the running backs and everything, like I said, just I think I said Peyton Lewis is a dog. Deshaun Bishop, like I said, as long as those 2 cats can stay healthy, I mean we're looking pretty good in that department. Because right as soon as we got up, like I said, to the Ohio State game, I mean, you could obviously tell, like, just Dylan Simpson went out with that injury, and we can all be honest. Like, I mean, not to, like I said, discredit Nico for what he was trying to do in that game, but I mean, Dylan Simpson, he was the guy. He was carrying us that whole season. So hopefully, if these 2 guys can stay healthy this coming season, then I think we'll be okay.
I think Peyton Lewis, and again, it's football. I was going to say he could stay healthy. Deshaun Bishop's size concerns me. I don't know if he can carry that much of the load, but I think Star Thomas can. Man, it's a good problem to have, bro. Like you said, Coach, iron sharpens iron. Let me hit some super chats real quick. Carl for 10 says, sorry to interrupt because I never do this, but my gut is telling me to do this. Check out Ryan Hall, y'all, for the severe weather this weekend. I want everyone to be safe and prepared for this weekend. GBO. I don't even know what that means. Where are we talking about?
What?
Severe.
Carl, it's going to be like 80 degrees and sunny. What are you talking about?
I don't know if is severe weather supposed to hit Tennessee? I have no idea what Carl's talking about. No idea what Carl's talking about. We'll see if he puts it in the chat. I do appreciate the super chat. Johnny Price for 5 says, Boogie, I believe the entire offense is going to take a gigantic step up and going to surprise the entire country. Go Big Orange. Thank you, Johnny. Stephen T becomes a member of the channel. Shout out, Stephen. We appreciate you. Guys, hit that join button. Get in where you fit in. Hit that join button. It's $1. It's like a cup of coffee is $7. You can't even get like a splash of coffee for $1, but you can become a member of the Talkin VAWLS Network, and we appreciate it. Wayne drops a 20 spot. We'll play the clip.
Rocky Top!
Wayne says, I was late. I had to feed my ugly fat face.
Unacceptable,
GBO.
Wayne.
Yeah.
Run a lap.
I mean, if it was Sunday, we would ask what you ate, and we would proceed to talk for the next 20 minutes about what you ate, because that's what we do on Sundays. Let's see. What did Sunday severe storms in the Knoxville area? Like, I never know why do I never know what you all are talking about? I never know what you all are talking about. Dauber, any other thoughts? We're just going through practice reports, man. Again, 3 practices into this thing. Anything standing out to you, making you raise an eyebrow?
Some comments about some of the linebackers and some of their play. Spillman has looked pretty good. Well, throw this out there with Gaston Moore transferring out. where are we going to be for backup quarterback?
Got to be Merck, right? You would think.
Jake Merklinger.
Mhm.
A lot of I know three practices in, McIntyre has looked really good. You think McIntyre's going to push Merck?
I think they're all pushing each other, but I think
Yeah.
Merck's going to be QB2.
From what from Nico's press conference, from what I've seen of it, like he said Jake has came like a lot. He's progressed a lot better than what he looked like, last season. So yeah, I think. I mean, yeah, if George can push Mac, then like I said, I don't know. I think Jake's probably got it.
I mean, I think being in the system a season is a big step forward too.
Mm-hmm.
But man, you talk about crowded position groups and just uber talented, and then you can't look into the future too far. You got Faison Brandon. I mean, it's good problems to have.
Somebody's going to transfer out, but that's a good thing. That means your quarterback room is loaded. And we have this conversation all the time on this channel. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Merck. I don't care if it's George, Nico, Brandon. I don't care who it is. And the conversation me and Coach Jay were having earlier, because he's watching a 2-second clip of Hype coaching up Nico, coaching up George McIntyre about foot placement and respect. I'm like, Coach, I might as well be reading a Spanish history book. I don't know what I'm looking at, but I can tell you what he is looking at. But it's hands-on coaching, right? Like Heupel is active with the quarterbacks, and when you continue to bring in elite quarterbacks, that's a beautiful thing. But something else that stuck out to me in today's practice report from Kaner, he was talking about Tim Banks, and he said he was doing more walking around the field like Hype does. Hype may be working with the offensive line. He may be working with the running backs. We know he's going to work with the quarterbacks. Tim Banks was going to more position groups, whereas last year, I know a lot of people are confused and think that Willie Martinez coaches all the DBs. He doesn't. Willie Martinez coaches the corners. Tim Banks coaches the safeties. So he was their position coach. He spent all of his time with those safeties, not as a true defensive coordinator roaming the field. Today, he was roaming the field working with other groups. Why? Because they hired Alan Williams, the new defensive analyst that specializes in the secondary, and he was more hands-on with the safeties. So this is what Kaner said. He said this move potentially opens the door for Banks to be more involved with the first and second layers on the defense and roam around like a head coach on that side of the ball. How much have we talked about the additions on this coaching staff, the analysts? They've added 3 dudes with head coaching experience in the past 2 months. Coach, speak to that and kind of what you were talking about with Coach Hype, working with the quarterbacks. What does it mean that Tim Banks is now free to roam the field?
Yeah, we can use that exact example you were talking about. Heupel talking to Nico, talking about his. I'm almost positive. I'm no lip reader, but I'm almost positive he was talking about hip to foot placement and how you. So as a DB and a linebacker specifically, when you're running slants like they were in the drill. As a linebacker, I'm going to read, and you're taught to flow the way the quarterback's hips are open, right? So you want to hide your hips being open, but your foot placed in that direction, and only swivel your hips when you actually make a throwing motion. But just the fact that Heupel can be dedicated, spending time with the quarterbacks, teaching the nuances of the position he knows so well, because he can feel comfortable that he's got other head coaches who are analysts now watching the greater picture of things. It allows Heupel to be the true expert in the quarterback room that he is. And I think it's needed. I look at all the talent. We were just talking about it. Dauber, GMAC, Merklinger, Faison on the way. I mean, it'd be hard to walk in that quarterback room and have a big head, right? Because everyone around you is just so uber talented. It's going to be humbling. It's going to make you want to keep your head down. But it's just so valuable to have all those analysts around, seeing all the little nuances, nitpicking where you need it. One thing gets missed, turns into 2 things get missed, turned into 3 things that get missed, and all of a sudden you have a chink in your armor. When you have that kind of analyst support on the field, you can start to close up some of those rivets, some of those chinks in your armor. And it's helpful, man. I'll tell you, I've seen analysts be a big part of why teams win. I'd like to think I'm a big part of why we win when we win. So I'll certainly ride it out on that horse. But I think it's huge, man. I think it's huge. I think Heupel's a great teacher, and it allows him to teach more.
Anybody else got another X? You got any more talking points on spring camp? Dauber?
Let's roll on.
Oh, I got a
I
great.
will make. I will. I will.
Coach, you're like, wait a minute, I got 17 more. What are you talking about?
We can stay on the quarterback kind of subject and branch off into wide receivers, but I'll tell you what, I like Smith and I like Rad Jackson a lot out of the gate. I like the way they hit their breaks. I like the way they catch the ball with their hands away from their bodies in nice triangles. I like a lot about both of their game. I think they both have looked sharp early. I like the idea of Mike Matthews developing with those two kids. I think they can certainly play.
Especially when Nico said that, Nico and Mike, saying they bonded, they went to Cali, and was working out over in Cali and stuff. And also too, going back to leadership with Nico, that's something you want to see from Nico too, to pull Mike Matthews and say, hey man, trying to go out to Cali, throw the rock, do some training out there and build just that bond because we all know that Mike Matthews, he's going to play a big part in this offense going forward and probably wide receiver one. I mean, maybe because we'll see how, Boo develops and everything, and he might be one or the two or whatever. But yeah, that's what I really like to see when Nico was like, yeah, I grabbed Mike and we went out to Cali and got some work in.
I'm telling y'all are not saying the name Braylon Staley enough. I'm telling you all. I'm excited about the young guys too. Travis Smith, Rad Jackson, like you just mentioned. I'm telling you, watch out for don't sleep on Braylon Staley. But go ahead.
So your slots, presumably, right, are going to be Staley, Jefferson, and Boo Carter, correct?
Yep.
That's
and I would say it's probably Braylon Staley and then Amari Jefferson, and then Boo's going to get X number of snaps. And that's we kind of laughed about this Friday, Coach. We were like, because the media didn't see Boo on offense, and I was like, oh, there's no way they're going to let him see him on offense. Well, they saw him on offense on Tuesday, and man, he's electric. And this clip is so funny that I have to play it because it made me laugh. And shout out Zach Reagan. He has all the best clips on Twitter. I tell you guys, he's the best follow on Twitter. But this is Travis Smith meeting with the media. Let's take a listen.
Man,
talking about Boo Carter.
Dog. He quick. He's really twitchy too. So just having his him right beside you, just being able to be so twitchy and get out the way and maneuver like that, it's awesome to see. So I think Boo, he got a bright future at both sides of the ball because he can bring a lot to it. Just knowing the other side, he knows different points and keys that us receivers may not know. So having him in the room too, it's been good.
So pause it right there, Boog.
No, I'm dead.
So with that being said, and like I said, and I'm gonna steal this from what Kaner said. Like I said, shout out to Kaner. We love you, big dog. But do y'all think that
happy
Boo
birthday,
Carter...
Kaner, by the way? Everybody go tweet at Kaner and tell him happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, by the way. Oh, no. You're good. Good. So with that being said, do y'all think Boo Carter can be our Travis Hunter? Play both sides of the ball?
I think he can be a star for us in both sides of the ball. What I don't want to see, X, is him playing every snap on both sides of the ball like Travis Hunter did. I don't think that can be a thing for us. But yeah, I think he can be a flat out star. I think he can be a fun little gadget toy too. I think you can float him in a running back at times and have him split out of the backfield and jump into a quint set and all kinds of fun stuff like that. So I think he's going to be entertaining as heck on both sides of the ball this year. I think he was just scratching the surface of how great he's going to be on the defensive end. So I'm excited about him. So yeah, I think he's going to be a huge star. Just don't want to see him play every single every single snap like Travis did.
Right. Yeah.
Agreed. And Wayne says the same thing. I want Boo on defense with special packages on offense. It was one of my favorite breakdowns we ever did because he was listed as an athlete coming out of high school, played safety, played running back, played wide receiver. So I told Coach, I said, bring 2 to 3 plays of each position. Every time he broke down a position, I said, that's where we need to play Boo. We need to play him at safety. We need to play him at running back. We need to play him at wide receiver. And I think he could be an impact player for this team at any of those positions. But I think he is built to play the star position in this defense.
Yeah, I just, and when I talk about gadgets, I don't want to see him come in, and when he comes in, everyone goes, "Oh, hey, Boo's in. Here comes
he's getting
here
the ball.
comes jet sweep.
Yeah.
Here comes jet sweep. They're going to run jet sweep to Boo every single time." Yeah, maybe you run it once. Maybe you run a counter off the jet sweep. You know, maybe you run a counter off the jet sweep with a pass back to Boo. You know, have some fun with it. Be creative with him. Use him as a decoy by all means.
And
But,
run some of your base offense with him in there at the
Yeah,
slot. So
yes.
you're not looking for some
Yep.
type of gadget play every time Boo steps on the field.
Yeah, like it'd be great if in the Syracuse game they played him a couple series and didn't throw to him once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or
Just
show
let
your
them get
wrinkles.
used
Show
to.
I don't know. Show
Yeah.
your wrinkles in that game. Everybody's always like, "Oh, vanilla, vanilla, vanilla." I don't show a bunch of trickery. Make teams
Yeah.
prepare for it. Put Boo in the
Sure.
Wildcat. Put him in the Wildcat for a few snaps because guess what? You're going to have to prepare for that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
because that's what we talked about. Even I said this past season is that everybody was saying that with the coaching staff, there was just no creativity. It kind of just there were times it kind of just looked like the offense we had when Joe Milton was at quarterback. Like saying outside screens and just hand the ball off. And it's kind of just like can we just kind of be creative like Texas was this last season? Because I'm sorry, like saying that triple fake handoff, I ain't gonna lie, that was a clean. That's a clean play call right there. I'm sorry, but we all know, Sarkisian, he's an offensive guru. We all know that. But yeah, but I just want to see something like that. I mean, not exactly like that, but just be creative. Do something we just haven't seen.
Don't bury the lead. We're going to talk about playbook here in just a second. Carl, the accountable accountant. Carl's the man that the reason why I'm thinking about moving NCAA Knots back to Tuesday because I miss hanging out with Carl. He's been a member for 20 months. Jordan Boyd drops a $2 super chat. We appreciate that, Jordan. We got 200 people watching. You guys got to put on more steam. Share this thing out. Put it on Twitter. Put it on Facebook. Let somebody know we're live. 250. We're going to give away some free merch. Share that link. Smash the thumbs up. That plays the analytics game as well. This is where we have some fun. Listen to this from Travis Smith. Talking about Boo Carter, chirping a little bit.
Oh no, I'm dead. We already been chirping. I think we was beside each other. We was talking a little smack. We was literally on the same call. Same ball side. We talking like, man, be quiet. We be chirping a little bit. But Boo, you cool though. That's what
I love it, man. I love it. I love it.
And even with that, like I said, look, just a dog like Boo, man. Look, get that on the offensive side of the ball. Like I said, look, and then it's funny because I know keep going back to the Nico press conference. Like I said, Boogie, whenever you get a chance, just watch it. It's really, really good. But Nico even said the same thing. He was like, yeah, he said, we got Boo on the offensive side. He over there chirping and stuff, But he said that's good because it runs off of him and onto the team. And like I said, we probably could use some of that, saying going forward with this season.
Yeah, I didn't mind when Nico gave Vanderbilt the what for in the end zone after the touchdown pass. A little bit of that's nice. A little bit of that's
You
healthy.
want a little dog. You want a little dog.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
Come
we
on,
need
man.
a Jawan Jennings. Yeah, because like I said, we all thought Brew is like I said, as far as his frame is like Jawan Jennings, but yeah, man, give us that Jawan Jennings.
A couple of other things from practice, just quickly that stood out to me. The center competition. I thought it was locked down. William Satterwhite. It's William Satterwhite. It's Nick Moore. Gus Hill. Who is Gus Hill? I have no idea who that is. He took snaps at center. Max Anderson and Sam Pendleton also took some snaps at center on practice number 2. Somebody in the chat said earlier, where in the world has Bennett Warren? He's been bouncing back and forth, left tackle, right tackle with the twos. I think Bennett Warren
Looks
maybe
like he's in good shape.
Yeah, maybe that flex guy. We'll see. I think David Sanders is going to be your right tackle. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
And I already thought it, but Wendell Mo's a dude.
Of course, dude.
That
I
dude
can't.
is the dude.
Everybody wanted that sexy, flashy guy, right? They wanted that big, sexy wide receiver or this,
Give
that,
me
and the
5
other.
of him.
We got
Yeah.
Sam Pendleton and Wendell Moore Jr., and those two dudes are going to make a difference this fall. I'm
Yep.
telling you. Those two guys
Agreed.
are going to make a difference this fall. Something else worth noting, the corners. Gibson and Jalen McMurray are running with the ones. No surprise there until Jamar McCoy comes back. Marcus Gorey working with the twos. That's something I'm keeping my eye on. Can Marcus Gorey, dude, I love his length, man. I'm talking when I go down there to watch Boo Carter and I'm watching Marcus Gorey because he's already committed to Tennessee, and I'm like, man, his knuckles are dragging the ground when he gets down in his stance. Like, he has length. So does Boo Carter, like his football IQ, like just watching him live and in person. I get it. The level of competition wasn't there. Marcus Gorey Jr., that's the dude I was talking about on defense after that game that I saw live. I was talking about him on defense.
He's good, man. He's smart. Like you said, he's lanky. Go watch that film breakdown if you guys want to see some of the most intelligent high school DB play you've ever seen. There's a play on that film breakdown that we did. It's in the playlist where he shuts down 3 different passing concepts by himself during one play, man. Yeah, guy is smoother than a fresh jar of Skippy, man. He's a good ball player. I like what he can do.
Last comment, and this we can throw back to another film breakdown on this one. One of the things that I've been watching is who's that fourth linebacker? Who's going to be that fourth dude? We know Tim Banks wants to rotate too deep at linebacker, and you know it's going to be Aaron Carter, Jeremiah T-Lander, Edwin Spillman, and who else? Jordan Burns. Got a lot of praise in today's practice. That excites me, man. That excites me to hear Jordan Burns. Coach, I know you were high on him as well. Dauber, you also mentioned the linebackers earlier. I don't know if he was the guy that you were kind of had on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah, and that's I think that there's so much, you know, the young talent that if it can come in and get coached up and develop, man, you know, the guys that you all have had in your film breakdowns, the guys that we've had on the show, and you know, you get to see a little bit of their personality, and you know, they're good dudes, but they're high IQ guys. They're high football intelligence guys, and it's, you know, man. But Coach Heupel can't recruit. You know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, it's consistency. And I'll keep going back to that. I think you're talking about a team that made a run to the playoffs last year, but it left a sour taste in our mouth because we know what could have been, you know, had there been consistent play. You know, and I think it does go back to a couple of the things and what we've talked about a lot tonight and focused in on, you know, the offensive line, particularly the wide receivers, you know, quarterback play. But all these things, you've got guys coming up that should be able to have an impact. And I think somebody said it earlier in the chat. I think this offense, they take, you know, huge leaps forward. I don't know that we're ever going to see something, you know, like the wacky video game numbers we had a couple years ago with Hendon Hooker and all of that. But I think this offense, they're going to get theirs this year. They're not going to have to rely on the defense to keep them in ball games. They're going to get theirs.
That's a good segue. Sit tight, Coach. That's a good segue because I want to talk about the offensive scheme. That's the title of the video, new offensive scheme, and it makes me laugh. Somebody in the chat said, "Don't tell anybody about our scheme." Y'all think Hype's on the phone saying, "Hey, Boogie, this is what we're doing this year. Just don't tell anybody." I promise you that is not what's happening. But we talk about video game numbers, and they were kind of video game numbers. Like Hype comes in 2021 and scores 39 points per game. That was 7th in the country. And then that 2022 year, 46 points per game, 1st in the country. But guess what? It's not like we went from scoring 46 a game to scoring 17 like we did under freaking Cornbread or 21 under Cornbread. It's like a step back for us was 2023 when we scored almost 32 points a game. That was 37th in the country. The sky is falling. The offense is dead. It's over. Josh Heupel ain't it. We were 37th in the country. This past season, 2024, almost 36 points a game, 13th in the country. If I told you, like, let's rewind time 15, 20 years ago. If I told you we're going to be top 15 in scoring offense and we were going to be top 10, top 7, I think, if you count the bowl game, we were top 5 before the bowl game in scoring defense. You would take that 10 out of 10 times. Like, you're not even going to argue with me. You're going to be, sign me up for that. Sign me up for that. But like Dauber said, it wasn't that magical wide split cheese play over the top that's open every time on EA Sports College Football 25 that certain clowns like to run. Like, I run the most true offense on the game. I go for it every fourth down. I go for 2 every time, and I run the cheese play that's wide open, but I run the most true offense. Like, that's video game type stuff. The offense in 2024 still scored a lot of points, and the defense was elite. Do things need to change? Yes. Will they change? That's the question. Will they change? Is there going to be any change to the scheme in 2025? And I think this is worth pulling up, and we're going to take a look at it. We're going to take a listen. Everybody listen closely to what Nico said in his media appearance. Let's take a listen right out of the gate.
In the offseason, what time have you spent with Mike Matthews to get that relationship going, and what have you seen him develop in?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with him. He came out to Cali and trained with me a little bit, so got to get some extra reps with him out there. And really just we got a new scheme in, and
Wait, what did you say, Nico? Hold on a second. What did he say? Let me rewind this.
There and really just we got a new scheme in, and
well, hold on. What did he say? I didn't hear him. Let me play it again.
Apple's like, shut
We got a new scheme in, and this is something. And I'm waiting on Coach Jay to shut me down and say, no, it's installs. I asked Coach Jay the other day. He's like, I'm in the office. I'm working. I got to do this, that. I'm like, what exactly are you doing? I just wanted to peek inside the walls. And he's like, well, we're putting in new stuff in the playbook, and I got to do this. I got to do that. Like, every football team across the country, from the pros to college to Pee Wee football, is doing this at this time. So is it a new scheme or is it just new tweaks, right? And for those that were so mad in 2024 saying, well, it doesn't look like 2022, you remember when certain people were praising 12 personnel and how 12 personnel succeeded against certain teams? That was something that this coaching staff saw based on their personnel. They could have success running 12 personnel. And they had a lot of success going out there with 2 tight ends. You had 2 really good tight ends, and you had success doing that. So Nico says new scheme. Coach, is it a new scheme, or is it just going to be some tweaks, little tweaks to Josh Heupel's offense in 2025?
I think it probably mostly tweaks, but I do think you'll see some new scheme. If I was going to put a percentage on it, I guess maybe 15 of just brand new scheme that you want to install in, but a lot of nuts and bolts of it will stay the same. They have a big playbook, and to me, it was about the consistency of creativity that was the problem with the offense. Like, you saw, like, occasionally you'd see a 22 play that was really creative last year. You just wouldn't see it consistently like it was in 22. Like in 22, it was every game, and they were running, little tweaks of that the next week, running, fun little hitches off of it, or motion or orbits off of it, fun little stuff like that. I'd like to see them open that up and just have the consistency to not always be bread and butter. I mean, we got to the point where we were predictable last year, and that's what can't happen no matter what. Is you've got to keep creative and not be predictable, because we certainly were predictable last year.
So you're saying,
hold on, let me come back to this, Dauber. Let me come back to this. When guys are open down the field, is the scheme not working, or are guys not executing? If a guy's wide open and Nico overthrows him, is the scheme not working, or did Nico not execute? If a guy's wide open and Nico puts it on the numbers and a guy drops it, is the scheme not working, or is the wide receiver not executing? If your left tackle is getting blown up because he's out of shape, hurt, whatever, Is the scheme not working, or is it not execution, Dauber?
Not execution.
That doesn't mean we can't still go try to get more creative. I'm just making a point. How much?
I agree.
Does
Two
offense
things
look?
can be true.
How much different does offense look if guys execute?
Yeah, because there were a few throws that Nico made down the field. I mean, like it was just right on the money. And like I said, not throw shade at the kid. Squirrel White had a few drops, and it's just like that can't happen, bro. It just can't. Not on big explosive plays like that.
Well, that's all the creativity went down to Florida there, didn't it, Coach Jay?
Yeah.
How many points a game did they score? Do you? I'm surely the God Coach Jay knows.
How many points a game did Florida score?
South Florida.
Oh, South Florida. I don't know, man. Not a ton against.
You knew on a weekly basis. At one point last year.
It wasn't a lot. I mean, they were 7-5. But I agree. Look, I liked. We don't got to go down that road, I guess. But it's just for me. It's two things can be true. We can be less predictable. We can get back to having a little more fun on offense, and we can execute better as well, right? X brought up a good example of the Squirrel White, and he had a couple drops, but the Alabama game comes to mind. That one happened right in front of my face. Nico also overthrew Brew McCoy by 30 yards in that game on a wide open touchdown as well. You can't have stacked up lacks of execution like that either. So, we need to execute a lot better. And we need to be a little more creative. Both two things can be true, and I think they both are.
Let me tell you why I think we're going to be more creative, because there were rumors. And again, I don't know what's true and what's not, but when all the talk about, Nico's going to enter the portal, like, I don't even know that it's rumors. I'm pretty sure VolQuest confirmed this on the message boards that Nico and his team, whether that means his dad or whoever, Nico and his team met with the coaching staff. And it wasn't a we're leaving, we're out of here, we're transferring. It was what's the plan for 2025? What's the plan in the wide receiver room? What's the plan with the offensive line? What's the plan with the scheme? Right? I think all that pretty factual. Again, allegedly, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that VolQuest put that out there. On the flip side, when Mike Matthews was talking about entering the portal and he's towing the line, and is he staying? Is he going? Does he think Nico's leaving? Whatever the case may be, he also met with the coaching staff, and he said, I came to Tennessee because I took my official when you guys beat Alabama. And I saw the creativity, and I saw Jalen Hyatt running free all over the field. And that's what I wanted to come be a part of. And that's not necessarily the case. So I truly believe that this coaching staff is going to look themselves in the mirror, and they're going to make the changes that they need to make. And if they don't, then guess what? Let the chips fall where they may. If you're not the coach, then we'll move on. We'll go hire somebody else, and we'll start this whole thing over. But I truly think that Josh Heupel is going to make the changes necessary. I also think we may have a little bit more talent on the offensive line, a little bit more talent in the wide receiver room. That's just my opinion. I cut you off, Dauber, to go on that big tangent.
All right, I'm good. You kind of
covered it.
You kind of said the where I was going. So
round of applause for Boogie for a great answer right there. Round of applause. Round of applause. Let me hit this gigantic super chat. Bleed Orange with a 50. We'll play the clip.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man.
The only thing that breaks my heart is I'm playing the clip and looking at this very generous super chat, and I see that Brad had a $51 super chat, so he's still the top for the month, and that really pisses me off. Brad's not even here. He said, "I'll see you tonight, Boogie." Brad comes in every stream, and he's like 2 hours early. "Hey guys, go Big Orange," and then he never hangs out. Like Brad's a lost cause. Brad is like one of those guys that's just drifting off. Maybe he's on that other channel with I won't do that. I'm going to be a good Christian man tonight. Bleed Orange for 50. Braylon Staley is a dog. Boo is going to be electric. This wide receiver room is going to ball out. Line play will be improved. That's not a knock on the guys that left. And the D-line will be as good, if not better. Nico is going to prove all the haters Wrong, GBO. See, bleed orange, we come from the same. Like that is how I feel. I think this team is going to be better. I think they're going to be improved on the offensive line. I think they're going to be improved in the wide receiver room until they prove me wrong. But it is what it is. I appreciate the super chat. Dauber, we'll go ahead and let you bounce. Dauber said, I got an hour and 15 minutes. We're going to keep this thing rolling. I told you, it may be a 3-hour stream. Dauber, I appreciate you hanging out.
I got to go to a late night softball practice.
Who in the world practices softball at 8:30 at night?
What time is it?
It's
Yeah,
weekend team getting extra reps.
There you go. There you go.
Not for me. I'm coaching.
Okay.
So you're the one that made the decision.
I
You're the
did
one
not.
that said, I need all you middle school kids to come out at 8:30 at night.
Well, I'm actually 15 minutes late. So
but
I stuck it out. So
there you go.
hey, football's back.
There you go, baby.
All right,
See
bro.
you,
Have a good
fellas.
night. We'll catch up with you next Wednesday.
All right. Later.
All right, brother. See you.
We will keep this train rolling. I almost feel like we could wrap the show right there, but I feel like I promised you guys more. I want you to put in the chat right now. I want you to put in the chat right now. If you want the stream to keep going, put a 1 in the chat. If you've had enough and you said, wrap it up, Boogie, it's over, put a 2 in the chat. You could also share it. We're 195 people watching. We got to get to 250, man. I think we can get to 250. But if you want this thing to keep on rolling, put a 1 in the chat. I would greatly appreciate it. While you do that, I'm going to do this. I'm going to share up some Talkin Balls merch. You guys can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin Balls. You can pick up the official merchandise of the Talkin Balls Network. We've got a You're Muted Coach Jay shirt that I was supposed to mail him, and I never did, but he was supposed to mail me something way more special than this, and I still don't have it.
I'm guilty. I haven't done it yet, Boogie, but I will. You have my word.
Well, you've had about a week. I've had about 3 months, and I've still not sent you the You're Muted shirt. It is coming your way soon, but you can pick one up, bonfire.com/store/Talkin Balls. We got the brand new Talkin Balls State Pride 2.0 shirts. It looks clean. It's got the Talkin Balls Network underneath it. You guys asked for camo. We brought camo. It's pricey. It's expensive. We're not making any money on this shirt, but you guys wanted camo, so we're bringing it to you. We got all kinds of fun stuff, man. Rivalry shirts, Buck Fama, God bless and go Vols. If you're a wrestling fan, VWO. Should we delete this? Or should we rebrand it and put like a no smoking sign over the ES? Just like right there, just put like a circle with a cross. Recruiting with Boogie and the coach. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I don't know. Bonfire.com/store/Talkin Balls. Go check out all the merch. We appreciate it. You can also support the channel by hitting the join button down below for just $1 a month. There's a link in the description. If you're on an iPhone, you got to go to a website to do that. Also, Patreon.com. The link is in the description for that. You want to play EA Sports College Football? Come hang out. You can beat Coach Jay. You can make him come to your home, to your building, and beat him, and he's going to cry and say that EA screwed him. That's a lie. You just do what you do. But also, man, it's fun. The off season, playing head-to-head. You may be playing me, Coach Jay, Dauber. We get to hang out for like an hour and talk ball. It's a good time. But also I think there's a tier there for $1 as well. You don't have to do that. That's kind of pointless. But that link is in the description below as well. Let me see what the chat is saying. Does the chat want us to keep going? Wayne with a whole lot of 1s. Jason with a 1. Your name is like, I hate you guys.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Luke is like, never mind. I changed my mind to 2. There's a 1. Tom wants us to keep going. Jason, a lot of 1s. I see a lot of 1s in the chat. Jason said, Boogie, you said 3 hours. I'm not lying, man. We have so much. Half the chat left.
We're out of here. Dauber left. We're out.
Yeah, they're here for Dauber. Oh my gosh, we're down to 178. All right, we're gonna let's go take a listen to who was first. Was it Tim Banks? Yeah, Tim Banks was Monday. Tim Banks was Monday after practice. We're going to take a listen to his press conference. We'll pause, provide commentary, talk about it. Gregory C for 5, excited about our squad this year. Thank you, Gregory, for the super chat. I am too, man. I'm ready to freaking go. I am so fired up for ball. Let's take a listen to Tim Banks. Take a listen to his press conference. Coach Jay, if you guys want to say something, just tell me to pause.
All right.
Yeah, hey, that's a great question. It's always the same every year. You know, the fundamentals, you know, who we are, you know, as a defense, you know, the things that we take a lot of pride in, how we run to the ball, you know, the physicality in which we want to practice with, you know, and how smart we want to be, you know, from snap to whistle. So, you know, we're just really working on our core identity right now. And, We got a lot of new faces out there. You can't take anything for granted. So we're just starting from the bottom up. Everybody's starting from scratch, and we're just building it, laying the foundation.
We obviously saw Boo doing a little bit on offense. How has he handled doing both of those, and how much did it help him that he went through a full season of defense before attempting this?
Yeah, I think it's been fine. Boo understands he's a defensive back for us. The goal every year is to be the last man standing, so we're trying to do anything we can to give everybody an opportunity to continue to grow. So his role on offense will be, dictated from coach. And, at this point, he seems to be handling it, really well.
Here, let me translate that for you, for those who don't speak defense coordinator. No,
Leave my guy alone.
He belongs to the defense.
Yeah.
Head coach is making me do this BS. I guess he's fast and he can help my defense not have to keep the other team down so much, but I really prefer him on the other side of the ball. I don't want him losing reps because he gets hurt on offense. So I'll play him on offense whenever coach says so, I guess.
But also, too, something that you got to take note of for this is Jordan Thomas. Coach, I know you were all right, what's Jordan Thomas going to look like?
Healthy.
They're saying it could be career ending. They're saying he may never play football again. That's a problem. At the star position in practice, the practice 2 and 3, Boo Carter was your starting star. And then a freshman, Dylan Lewis, backed him up. And then Marcus Gorey, who I think Marcus Gorey could be a really good star too.
Me too.
I think he could be great in that position. But man, just the fact that Jordan Thomas isn't healthy, didn't respond, didn't bounce back. Gosh, you hate it for the kid. You hate it for the kid. But that's also something Tim Banks, as a defensive coordinator, has to be looking at, saying, I need Boo Carter on defense.
Right.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what Coach was saying too earlier, because I brought up the question that I stole from Kaner, was can Boo Carter be our Travis Hunter? And like what Kaner was saying, I mean, it's not a dumb question at all, because it kind of excites me when you kind of think of it as yeah, we got Boo on the offense and defense. But when you put it in that perspective, Boog, yeah, that's why with Jordan Thomas, it's yeah, man, we can't lose Boo. I mean, I said we're losing Jordan, definitely can't lose Boo. So yeah, so I mean, still have Boo on offense, and like Coach said earlier, have him in different packages and stuff on offense. Kind of utilize him in certain ways, like in the slot or wherever you want to put him at, maybe on a swing route or whatever. But yeah, you still got to keep him on defense. So.
Yeah, we'll see how that position shakes out. We'll see if the freshman's got some chops. Hopefully he does. I like Marcus Gorey at that position too, but do you need a Marcus at cornerback? How long does that situation take to sort itself out?
And then does Caleb Beasley end up at safety? But there's so many just moving parts, so many moving.
Yeah, there is. But I'll tell you what. We're still in a lot better position than we were a couple years ago in our secondary.
Yeah.
I mean, light years above where we were. So hopefully Jermod can make it back in a reasonable amount of time. I know there's been projections as early as week 1, but as long as he gets healthy, we'll see.
That's when we need him, is Georgia.
Yeah, we need him for Georgia. So yeah. Hopefully we can get him back from there, and hopefully we get some young guys stepping up in that position too.
Any word on Ricky Gibson? Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, he's out there. Yeah, he's playing hard. He's
okay.
keeping him. We're keeping him.
Okay.
Did anybody else gasp when they saw that he tweaked his knee and went in with the trainer? I'm like, good Lord, that is the last position. But he came back out, went through drills, went through 11 on 11. So I think Ricky's
I think Ricky's will be great for us this year. I think Ricky can take a step forward. I was really high on him when we did the breakdown with what was it, Matthews and Christian Conyer. I loved Gibson. I thought he was the best out of the gun, and it kind of showed itself that way. But I think he can take steps. I truly do think he has even better football in front of him. So it'll be interesting to see how he develops, and how quickly we can get him back, and how quickly other guys develop. I mean, I think we all feel pretty comfortable with McMurray at corner in spots, certainly in those early games, but they're going to need someone, to step up and and handle business. We saw a lot of Edris Farouk. Could Farouk step up? Could maybe Edris slide into that star safety position? There could be some shuffling there. What happens with Slaughter? What happens with Christian Charles? All these are kind of questions that we're going to be asking ourselves as these secondary guys kind of shuffle their way in. Jacoby Thomas, I think, is going to be good. I know he had an impressive rep, in one-on-ones the other day. So yeah,
him and Farouk both got praised for physicality. I saw,
yeah,
which is good. God, you would just feel so much different about the corners if you knew your starters were Jermod McCoy and Ricky Gibson, and then McMurray and Idris Farouk. Not Idris Farouk, but Marcus Gorey. Maybe he comes along and that's your two deep. You feel a lot better about it than you do without McCoy. We just need McCoy back by Georgia, but we'll see, man. It's like, like we were just talking about with Jordan Thomas, you just don't know how you're going to respond to that knee injury, right? You just have no idea. And everybody's a doctor and everybody's giving you their expert opinion. And it's like, we'll just see. We'll see how his body responds to physical therapy. All right, let's hear more from Tim Banks, who, by the way, are we all three in agreement? I'm so glad Tim Banks is back. I am so glad Tim Banks is back.
Yes.
I just want to see him
be more aggressive.
Specifically on the road.
Yeah.
I really, and neutral site, I really felt like that was lacking last year on the road. It was almost like you caught two totally different schemes that were unrecognizable for how we usually play at home.
When you're playing a better team like a Georgia or an Ohio State, it feels like he knows he's outmatched, so he goes
let it hang out.
Yes, exactly. What's the worst that can happen? You get beat.
Yep.
Who cares? Play aggressive,
Right.
man. Get after it. If you get beat, you get beat. I would much rather go down being aggressive, swinging for the fences than I would playing conservative.
And I know it's off topic, but since we're talking about defense, Boogie, I got a sleeper, man, on the D line this year. Our boy, you seen
Jamal
him, man?
Wallace?
He looks good, Boogie. He changed his body completely. He is fast. He always had burst. He was always fast inside, a big kid, but yeah, man, that kid is looking like a dude.
Yeah.
I need to hit him up, man. I've not talked to him in a minute. I would love to get him back on after having a full year. A lot of these guys, I don't want to bother during the spring. I want to bother them during the summer when they're not going through camp and see if we can get Jamal back on. Maybe get Amari back on. Maybe get Braylon on. Maybe harass David and George. Man, dang it. Stop leaving me on red, George. George left me on red. Leaving me at the altar. All right, let's hear more.
What do you think about the group in the secondary?
How did that guy get a microphone?
No for the spring. What do you think about that group?
Yeah, there's a lot of young faces out there right now. For us, I think that the thing that's exciting is, we feel like we've won what they look what we want them to look like. We have a lot of length back there. We got a lot of guys that can run. They're still learning how to play at this level, but we're excited for them. We think every year, we'll continue to move the needle and build the type of secondary that, they can stand the test of time. So, obviously between Jamad and Ricky Gibson and, guys like that, we think they'll be great ambassadors and, role models for these young guys.
They got to fix that audio.
Yeah, I think the first name for me, T-Lander's been awesome.
Let's go.
Just being a leader. He's obviously he played a lot of football for us last year, and you can see just his confidence that has grown. And he's really working with the younger guys. I mean, it's a little bit by committee right now, but that's a good thing. We think those snaps are very valuable that they're getting right now, and it'll only pay dividends for us in the future.
Coach, I guess part of the offseason process is self-scouting, quality control, whatever you want to call it. What does that process look like for you guys? Do you guys game through game? Do you focus more on the wins, the losses, what you did well, what you didn't do well? And how do you sort of go about taking what you learned from that point to, as you talked about, building your identity as you get to the practice field during spring ball?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Obviously you always try to figure out, how you can play better, in some of the games that, you weren't quite as successful in. And then obviously some things you did well, why did you do them well? So we're trying to learn, we're trying to grow, and that's what the cut-ups are for. As we get used to our new personnel, we're defining right now, what it is that they do well, what are some of their strengths, obviously their weaknesses, and how can we make them better within the framework of our defense. But all that information is really based on, what we saw, coming out of last season and how we can get better.
I like that hoodie, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's a work in progress, but in a good way. Those guys obviously were really productive for us, and some guys that had played some football. But I think these young guys will be fine. You mentioned Hobbs. Hobbs played a lot of football over the last couple of years, and we're super excited about his growth and his development. Jackson Moy, Eason, those guys have played some football. So, they really worked during winter conditioning about leadership, working on their leadership skills. And, I think we're going to see some dividends being paid as we get further and further, during camp.
I'm not worried about the defensive line at all. And I get it. We're losing James Pierce Jr. Like, we're losing some dude. I'm not worried. I think Joshua Josephs, like, the level of confidence he showed last year, and now we're going to take another step this year. Like, I like him, Eason, Jackson Moy, Dom Bailey, Tyree West, David Hobbs, Caleb Herring, Jordan Ross, Tyree Weathersby. Like, it goes on and on and on. Like, are you worried? Are you ever going to be worried about the defensive line as long as Coach G's here? Like, never.
No, I'm not going to be worried at all. And hopefully, like I said, Coach G finishes seasons here at Tennessee. I hope he just retires here, and that's what I'm saying. Hopefully, if he keeps recruiting, and depending on, I know, like, his contract and everything else, but, like, hopefully, like I said, he stays with us and keeps this stacking recruiting classes on the defensive end. I mean, like I said, man, he could lead us to the promised land with that defense. I mean, we obviously we seen it this last season going into the playoffs. I mean, the defense, they played their butt off last season, and I know we kind of struggled a little bit with the offensive side of the ball. But yeah, man, as long as Coach G's here, when that defensive line is healthy, I mean, hey, the sky's the limit.
Coach, take us back to the linebackers. He mentioned the linebackers there briefly, talked about Jeremiah Thielander. What do you think? You didn't say a whole lot when I brought up Jordan Burns. Like, who do you think kind of steps up? Who do you think the two deep is at linebacker? You think it's Burns is that fourth guy?
Yeah, I think Burns is that fourth guy. I like him a lot. Once again, not to keep plugging the film breakdown series. Yeah, but check out that playlist, guys. Just go to
Is Jermod? Hold on. Is Jermod McCoy the feather in your cap? I don't know. Jordan Ross is pretty. That was a pretty, because we were talking about Williams Winery at that time, and you're like, give me Jordan Ross, give me Jordan Ross, give me Jordan Ross. Great series that we've not done at once this year.
Yeah, I should get back to that. We definitely will get back to it.
If somebody wasn't coaching football, we could maybe do some film breakdowns.
There you go. No, but I do like him. I think he's a sideline to sideline linebacker. He's really fast. He's good in pass, defending the pass, which you have to be. You just absolutely have to be. So, I fully expect, you to see Arian Carter and Thielander up there with a heavy, heavy dose of Spillman. And by the end of the year, Spillman and Arian Carter might be your starting linebackers, or you might just keep them fresh. We'll see how they do it. But I think Burns does find his way in there. I just think that's going to be your obvious solid bunch of guys out there. I do believe that will be the case, Boogie. But I like Burns. He's a great option. I wasn't worried about, Herring when he transferred out of the linebackers. I wasn't worried this past year when we lost the transfer. I thought they were both upgrades by, addition by subtraction, if you will. So I'm happy about it. I like where the linebacker room is. Just got to keep developing. One thing I will say, kind of going back and watching a lot of the games last year, and Coach Banks was talking about cut-ups. And when you start watching a lot of cut-ups, one thing that stuck out about the linebackers was over pursuit. It was a huge issue, specifically for Arian. It was almost like it was in a good way, though. It was almost like he read it so fast and reacted so fast, he was past the spot. and his timing was off. So if he can click back those timings to be correct, going to be a dangerous football player. And I still believe Aaron Carter will be a valuable member of this team this coming season.
Is Edwin? Is he on the depth chart? The Mike linebacker. Like I think Aaron Carter's the Will, Jeremiah T-Lander's the Mike. Am I wrong? I'm looking at a depth chart. So if
Yeah, so the Will.
Yeah,
Aaron
Arian's the
Carter,
Will.
and
Arian's
then
the Will.
yes,
and then behind him is Jordan Burns.
Yeah, are you looking at you're probably looking at the R Lads depth chart the same as I am. Edwin Spillman listed as a Mike. So yeah, so he could step right in there. Mike and Will, like Aaron Carter and Edwin Spillman. Okay.
I think you'll see him flop. Yeah, and I think you'll see him pop in and out of there, certainly.
Spillman is just such a dude, man. He is such a dude. But
You're
T-Lander
gonna
is
see a
too,
lot of
man.
it. Yeah.
T-Lander is too. I like both guys.
And he looks good. He looks like he's really in good shape. So that's going to be exciting to keep an eye on, man. I do like our linebacker room a lot. So it's interesting that they had Gas move out, but I really like the move. And hey, some of these young linebackers, guys, Jaden Harmon, he's a dude, man. They got some young guys. Don't be surprised if one of these young linebackers steps in and is a little more dangerous than people maybe think. Perlotti, Harmon, both guys that really fly around. Even Brent, I think Brendan, is it Ennis? Ains. Good looking football player, smart. Think he needs to develop a little into his college body, but it'll be interesting to see how he progresses.
You mentioned Ricky Gibson. How important is it to have him in a room that might be depleted a little bit with that experience?
Yeah, it's awesome. Ricky's done a really good job here over the last 2 years, and having him out there has been awesome. Awesome for him, and obviously awesome for some of the young guys. So, but we got, Andre Tarantine, who's back, who's played some football for us. And, Jacoby was a new comer last year that, played a lot of football for us. And
my God,
we feel like we have some guys that have played, to be able to blend in with some of these younger guys that hopefully when we're done with this spring ball, we've taken another step in that back end.
What's the plan for Caleb Beasley this spring? Will he move around a little bit? And is there anything about his skill set or build that sort of makes him a good fit for a versatile role like that?
Yeah, I think it starts with just, being a good athlete. Again, I think it speaks to, how we've tried to recruit. We want to recruit defensive backs, guys that have flexibility that, can bounce inside to outside or outside to inside. And Beasley fits that mold. He's a smart kid. He's a team first guy. So, we're eager, just finding him a spot that he can continue to grow. So he's working at it. I don't know that we've solidified any spot exactly where he'll play. But I can say that for a lot of the guys on the back end, we're just kind of working through it to figure out the best combination and make sure we got all the guys in the right spots.
Yeah.
Talking about Coach Chop, and then also talking about the defensive back analyst that they brought in, Alan Williams.
Yeah, I start with Coach Chop. Chop's been a valuable asset for us, since he's gotten here. I know he gets a lot of, accolades because of his recruiting and rightfully so. But he does just as good a job, at developing and working with the front. So he's kind of been an unsung hero around here for a long time. So I'm super excited. He's finally getting his just due. As far as Alan goes, I've known Alan for a while. Never had obviously the luxury of working with him, but we're always trying to move the needle. Like I said earlier, nobody's happy except one team at the end of the year. So anything that we can do to help us become better players, better coaches, that's what we're striving to do. And bringing Alan in has really been awesome. Wealth of experience, as you alluded to. As he gets to know us, he's, getting to know the system, but he's already helped us in so many ways, just with, some insight and seeing things from a different lens. It's already helping and paying dividends for us.
The fact that he's an analyst and he's on the field coaching the safeties and Tim Banks can roam, the fact that it's unlimited, and that's why you saw the hires that Coach Heupel made, right? That's why you saw those hires, because you can now have analysts on the grass. I texted you, Coach, the other day. You said, I'm on the grass. I'll get back to you in a minute. And it's like the fact that it's unlimited, it's like, and that is showing that Danny White, Josh Heupel are moving in the right direction, right? We have unlimited. Let's get more guys in the building.
Yeah, and the fact that Tim Banks just said too that he was just like, yeah, he's a nobody's happy at the end of the season, because if it's not us, ain't nobody happy. So after that Ohio State beatdown that we taken, that whole coaching staff was sick to their stomach. I mean, literally sick to their stomach, and that's why they made this move to bring in more eyes to see, like, hey, like what are we doing wrong? What do we need to improve here in this group, in this position? So yeah, I mean, it's really encouraging to hear that Tim Banks said that they brought in this whole new staff to have an extra pair of eyes around them to help them get better.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely think things were missed last year on defense. God, if I could get one of these analysts to get my linebackers chipping Georgia tight ends off the ball, it will be a success, because, gosh, Coach JB throwing everything in the dang living room, watching the games, watching people run unabated off of the offensive line and catching passes. But it's little things like that, though, right? Like, why aren't we chipping that guy? Why aren't we running inside shade in this cover 3 set versus trips rather than deuces or quads? It's those little nuances of catching things and getting you to challenge coaches' thinking. Maybe you get into a rhythm, and you always want things this way, but in this game, rhythms are dangerous, right? So you kind of got to watch that and always be cognizant of it.
Mr. Staley's in the house. What's up, Brian? Boogie, Coach Jay, X Factor. What up, fellas? What's good?
Always a
Talking
pleasure.
ball.
What's good? What's good?
Good to see you in the chat, man.
Coach, kind of a two-parter. You talked about some other guys on staff. You're obviously back as well with the contract extension. How much uncertainty was there with that situation? How glad are you to be back at Tennessee and continue to build on what you've done? The second
So
part
glad he's back.
Trey Poteet, freshman quarterback. What did you guys like about him in the recruiting process to go up to Wisconsin and get him?
Yeah, I'll start with the second part. I think, with Trey Poteet, once again, he fits the mold that we're looking for. He's a coach's kid. So we knew he would have a great foundation in terms of learning and understand what it looks like to be a collegiate defensive back. And he hasn't disappointed. He's a smart kid. He's a hard worker. No different than a lot of freshmen. There's obviously, boatloads of things that he'll continue to grow with. But at the end of the day, those are the type of guys that we want to recruit, guys that see it and, have a chance to be special, as they continue to get older. Being here, Tennessee is obviously a special place for me and my wife. You guys know me, my faith is everything to me. And, so I feel extremely blessed to be here. Uncertainty, I don't know. I knew things would work out the way they needed to work out. So, I'm excited to work with this new group. I'm excited to work with, our staff and some of the additions we've had. So it's been a blessing for me. And like I said, I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, Trey Poteet's a kid that I quietly liked a lot, guys. Two-way player out of high school, like many of them are. I think he had something like 1,600 all-purpose yards on offense. And if I'm remembering right, I think he had something like 7 or 8 picks and like 9 or 10 pass breakups as a corner. I mean, that's hard no matter what level you're at. A kid that's got some length to him, got some speed to him. So if we can hit on one of these young kids, we're playing with house money in the secondary.
He's getting a lot of praise. He's getting a lot of praise right now.
Good-looking kid,
man. Yeah.
Yeah. Good-looking kid. I think mid to high 4-star kid. But
yeah, he ended up a 4-star, and that's the thing. Again, 3-star you, 3-star you, 3-star you. Guess what? And we'll find out, right? It doesn't matter where his ranking ended up. He ended up a 4-star. What will matter is what he does at the college level. But how many guys, like, look at Tyson Bacon. 3-star you, Boogie. Make the
Yeah.
commitment video. 3-star you. And now here comes Bama. Here comes Georgia. Imagine that. Coach G nailed another evaluation, and here comes everybody. And now Tennessee has to hold on to him. And then if Tennessee loses him, then it's going to be like, well, we can't recruit. Which is it, man? Is it this kid's no good, or can we not hang on to recruits? Which is it? Like that's the maddening part. But we'll see what happens with Trey Protein. I love that he's a coach's kid. Like, sign me up for 10 of those guys. Like,
I agree with you. I'll take all the football smarts and IQ on the field I can get, certainly in the secondary.
Dude, one of the funnest interviews that we missed was Adrian Wilson's kid, Santana Wilson. He was scheduled to come on the show. I think, Coach, you may have been the only one that knew about it. Scheduled to come on the show, blindly commits to Texas. And I'm like, congrats, bro. Like, it was like a week before he was going to come on the channel. He pulls the trigger and commits elsewhere. And it's like, well, I don't know. Was it Texas, Arizona? I can't remember where it was. But I was like, best of luck, man. Like, I don't want to burn that bridge. Like, congrats to him. But it was like, that would have been a huge one. And he like commits the week before he's coming on the channel.
Especially not in the transfer portal age, right? You don't know when any of these are going to yo-yo back to you.
That's why I hate the people that just talk so much smack about Shady Hayward. It's like, guess what? If a year from now, 2 years from now, Shady wants to come to Tennessee, guess who's going to welcome him with open arms? I'll be saying, come on home, Shady. Come on home, Shady. All right, let's roll through more of this.
Obviously, you have ideas of what guys can do in the recruiting process, and just TBD on how they react to it. Early on in practices, through your experience, how much can you get true, accurate indicators on how good of a player can be with those early signs versus when the pads come on and when it really gets real?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know that you ever know, until the kid truly in the heat of the battle. It's our jobs to try to simulate that as best we can. And you have stages, right? You do the fourth quarter, the old school mat drills, if you will, to try to put them in some mental anguish if you can, but at the end of the day, you got to go out and play football, right? So we're in the first stages of that. No pass are on, there's not, a lot of noise, crowd noise. The environment is pretty sterile. But yeah, they still got to pass that test. And then obviously you get to the scrimmages, right? How do they react during the scrimmages, when things are going well versus when things go bad. And then you finally get a chance to play in a place like Neyland, right? Now, how do they respond? So I just think it's a staircase for every guy, and some guys go from the first step to the last step quicker than others. But I think history would tell you, if you stay the course and those guys are able to handle the first stage to the second stage, it's a good chance they'll be able to handle the third. All right. Appreciate you guys.
I love Tim Banks, man.
Solid.
I love Tim Banks.
yeah.
We got 167 people watching live. I put in the chat, I said, should we call it a night? Like, should we call it a night? I mean, everybody's leaving. Everybody's disappearing. We went from 200 to 167. Or shall we continue? Shall we put on more steam? Shall we go and watch?
I see ones.
Joey,
I'm seeing
ones.
I'm seeing some ones.
A lot of ones in the chat.
A lot of ones in the chat.
A lot of ones. Let's see.
I don't see a lot of super chats, though. That's one way we could definitely keep the show rolling forward. But no, I digress. We're going to watch more. I told you guys, 3-hour stream. We're going to make it a 3-hour stream. Let's keep rolling. Joey Halsley met with the media today. Let's hear what he had to say.
Some of the on offense, a lot of the big voices of last season are gone. They were at pro day yesterday. Is there a developmental thing with Nico that he needs to move forward with a louder voice, a bigger part of the culture?
100%. That's been a big part of what we talked about too. Is everybody knows who he is as a player, as an athlete on the field. He's an elite player, but the challenge this year has been, okay, you have that. We know about that. Like, let's take the step off the field. You're the one that's going to have to be the uniting voice with no Cooper Mays, with no Dylan Sampson, with no Brew McCoy in the building anymore. A guy like him can step in and really take it over and lead it his way. Like, you can't be fake. You can't be something you're not, but you do have to be willing to step out, step in front of the team and address guys and clean things up especially when they're not right.
Can you all handle leadership while I go take a piss? We've been live for 2 hours. I got to pee.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. Go. What do you want to see out of Nico in that regard, X? Like, what are you looking for? He is kind of, kind of the calm, chill, cool right? Cali guy,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
What
Snoop
do you want
Dogg.
to see? Yeah, what do you want to see out of him, man?
From well, basically what everybody was telling him, like in his press conference, and that video that you and me have seen from earlier, that clip that Boogie played, is what I'm saying. I want him just to be like, you don't have to be a big vocal leader. And
Mhm.
Nico's already said it too. He's not like, the very rah guy, that's just not who he is. Because even the team, came to him and so it's like, hey man, like, I mean, we know you're the leader and you don't have to be fake. Like even what Joey Hollister just said, like you don't have to be fake and just put on just this persona of being like a true leader. Like no, like just be who you are, be yourself, and just lead by example. So and then I really wanted to see, like I said, what Nico said to his wide receivers or whoever on the field, when they got into that scaffold earlier, but he kind of laughed it off, said like, nah, that's personal business. But I mean,
Mhm.
that's really good to see from Nico though, because even going from last season, when Nico, like I said, I forgot, like I said, what game it was, or like I said, I think it was against Chattanooga, but like, like some of the drop passes, or it was either a missed throw that he had, and he was fired up about it. Like he was
Mhm.
like, man, like that should have been it, like right there. So, like it's good to see that Nico demands perfection, and I mean, I know we all know that, it's not going to be perfect, it's going to be perfect, but that's just the high standard that Nico and Josh Heupel and this coaching staff want, is that, like I said, they want that high caliber championship kind of team, and that's just what I want to see from Nico, like I said, for this season as he progresses, what I'm saying, on the field, as by saying his leadership, because it's like, hey man, you got a bunch of young guys coming in, and listen, like, you're a sophomore now, you're that sophomore leader, and you got to prove it to us. So that's definitely
Yeah.
what I want to see.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, and I agree. For me, kind of a quieter guy, so he's going to have all that kind of, self-management that you want out of a leader. I think
Mhm.
Nico's got a lot of courage on the football field. We saw that in the Ohio State game, even though it didn't go our way. But I want to see him out there setting the tone. Boogie likes to show that Dylan Sampson clip where it's, it's a little rah-rah, but he's setting the tone, man. And you can go out there and you can deliver, you can communicate what kind of tone you expect out there, right?
Mhm.
You can also communicate that tone with, decisive decision making,
Mhm.
with giving coaching feedback on what you expect from your linemen, on what you expect for your wide receivers, what your plan and personal vision is for that player in this offense, and work close with them. You know, uh, have those relationships, but be a power driver in those relationships, and
Mhm.
make sure that you're driving that relationship to be dangerous, man, to be deadly, to set that tone, to have vision, to stay together, to fight for each other, to work hard every single day. I think that is how I want to see Nico lead this team and step
Mhm.
up and have that development, to in that tone setting environment that a great leader has.
Mhm.
And this may be the dumbest comparison ever, but I go back to the Chris Brazzell comment that I talked about earlier, like him going to Chris Brazzell and saying, "Hey, you're the leader of the wide receiver room." Like Josh Heupel is ultimately the CEO, but then Nico is the CEO from a player perspective, right? And it's like
Mhm.
Right.
most of you guys know, I run the Upward Basketball League at my church, and the guy that kind of mentored me into that position was like, you're doing your job right when you look around and all of your coaches are doing what they're supposed to do. All of your referees are doing what you're supposed to do. You get to the season and you are sitting back with your arms behind your head saying, "Yep, I'm surrounded by dudes doing stuff." And that's part of leadership, is being a
Mhm.
leader. If a coach comes to me and says, "I have this problem," we'll learn how to fix it. Like that's your job to fix it. And that's what Nico was saying to Chris Brazzell. You're the leader of that wide receiver. I don't need to worry about the wide receiver room. You need to lead. You need to have a leader in the offensive line room. You need to have a leader on the defensive line, like across the board. And I think maybe a little bit of ownership there. Nico saying, "Hey, you got to take ownership, man. You're the veteran guy in that wide receiver room." I love it. I love that from Nico. I loved hearing him say that. Foul Mink says, "Here's $1 for a 1. Keep the dang stream rolling." Todd Landers for 5 says, "Piss break money. Do I need to go pee again? I can go do it again. I'll go do it again." Lee Honda for 2 says, "Can't wait to see Nico's year 1 to year 2 improvements." Me either, man. Like, so many people wanted to put a $8 million bounty on his head. You're getting paid $8 million. You need to win a Heisman. Let him grow. Let him develop, man. Let's see what he does. I'm excited about Nico and the talent around him. Excited about the talent around him. Let's see. Yes, Wayne. Like, I'm going to play this clip. I really wanted to go through the entire David Sanders press conference, but like we started having good conversation, so I let it go. I played it in a video. I'll play it again now because Wayne brings it up.
Me, Ethan, G-Mac, Basan, like we were all really tight during the recruitment process. So now we got here, we've talked about what we want to do. So holding each other accountable, like, bro, we want to win a national championship, so you got to work hard. Like, we can't let you come in late or slack during workouts if that's what our end goal is. So I think that was a great thing about recruitment, is really being able to build those relationships with the guys you're going to be with for the next 3 to 4 years. And that helps with, team bond and, just chemistry and being able to tell somebody something and, it won't hurt their feelings, like being able to get on somebody. Like, if I see one of my teammates slacking, I can get on you, but it's from a good place. Like, it's from love, not just me trying to harp down on you. But getting to know those guys made it a lot easier transition because we already have that chemistry to be able to talk to each other, have fun, and still get the work done.
I love Big Dave, man. Obviously, having him on the channel was great. Great interview. He showed his maturity there, but like holding each other accountable. And then talking about the class of 25, we're a confident bunch, man. We came here to win a national championship. We expect to win a national championship. I love it. I love it from Big Dave. Let's hear more from Coach Halsley.
What's the biggest jump that Jake has made there, and just how much more confident you guys feel in him to run this offense than you did maybe a year ago?
Yeah, first of all, going through your first spring as a freshman, your first fall camp as a freshman, you're drinking from a fire hose right from the rip. So he has a different feel about him out on the field. He's not pressing. He's calm. You can see it in the pocket. When your feet are calm, your eyes are calm in the pocket, you can drive the ball over the field. And he's had a really good start to camp here. Really happy with where he's at. He's really focused on cleaning up his fundamentals. And all that's translating to pretty high quarterback play out there on the field right now.
Star Thomas, what'd you like about him that you wanted to bring him in? How does he fit into that running back room?
Yeah, physical runner, tons of experience. We were young. We went from being old in that room to young in that room. Guys without a ton of game experience. He's got a bunch of that. He's played at a high level in a big conference. So he's a guy that comes in. He's not going to step into any moment that feels too big for him. He's got a skill set that goes and translates to the SEC, and he's a real solid pickup for us.
Back with Nico to the leadership aspect, Cooper, Dylan, Brew, there was a lot of talking last year. Were there ever a point in time, him being the quarterback last year, that he took control? Did you see any?
Absolutely. Yeah, he's never scared of the spotlight. He's not scared to step out. It's just not his natural personality to be boisterous and jump out in front of a room, especially when you got guys that he respected in that position. There's no need to talk over a Dylan Sampson, a Cooper Mays, a Brew McCoy. When they're handling something, they can handle it. And that's the biggest jump. Is it's not now like picking your time. It's like it is your time every single time. It's your time to be out there. It's your time to put yourself out there and be a little bit vulnerable in front of the team and everything that comes with that. Because if you're going to step out there, then you got to be doing everything right off the field as well.
What all does that look like? I mean, it's not just rah-rah, right?
No.
I mean, so what is organically, what do you need him to do so that it's not fake? I mean, can you kind of break down what that
Yeah,
looks
if he
like?
tried to start going raw right now, it wouldn't hit because that's just not him, and he doesn't do that. But what he did, like he did it today. He didn't like something he saw. He called the guys up and said, hey, and he addressed it right now, and we moved on. Like, he's not going to ever just start screaming and like throwing stuff. That's not him. But what he will do is step up and see something that he doesn't think is right, and he stepped in front of the group and addressed it in a way that fit him. It was assertive, but it wasn't anything that wasn't him.
I love that. And like the nosy part of me wants to know what happened.
That's
But
what when you left, that's what I told Coach. I was like, I want to know what Nico, he chewed somebody that, butt out.
Something happened. Yeah. But it's a beautiful thing because clearly it was Nico that took that step. Nico showed the aggression. Nico's the one that said, this ain't it. Like whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
was it effort?
Mhm.
Was it? I don't know what it was. We don't know, and we don't need to know. Like I want to know because I'm nosy, but we don't need to know. But the bottom line is something wasn't right, and Nico said this ain't right. And like Coach Halsley is confirming that right there. He's confirming it. That's what a leader does. A leader doesn't need to be rah-rah, like Coach Jay just said. Like, was Dylan Sampson a little rah-rah? I don't know. I love that Dylan Sampson speech because it's like, man, we are blessed to do what we do. We are blessed to be here on this field representing the University of Tennessee. We are blessed to do this. And it's like if you buy in, that speech has some power, but if not, maybe it is a little rah-rah. I don't know. But I love that Nico took the aggression.
But the thing is, it's honest. Like he said, if Nico stepped out and started acting like that, everyone would smell BS, right? Because it'd be dishonest. It's not who he is, right? That's who Dylan
Right.
was, right? And
yes,
you know, it was honest and it was truthful for Dylan to be that way. For Nico, it wasn't. You know, Nico's gonna, you know, let you hear about it, but like you said, you know, he's had the self confidence to be able to empower his teammate to delegate to them what they need to do and call people out and respectfully challenge people when they need to be challenged. So that's all positive indicators. As far as what he said about Jake, though, when he asked if Jake was well versed and better, you know, from a mental standpoint, yeah, of course you think he is, right? But you know, if it's your first, you know, week in the Navy SEALs, you know what I mean? It's drinking from a fire hose, right? After you've been in it for a year, right? You might be running smooth, but you get that call up to combat, right? A little different. Bullets get flying. So there's that to consider too for Jake, and we need to be aware of that as well when his number is called, because undoubtedly there'll be a play where a helmet gets cracked in half or an ankle gets tweaked for a quarter or something like that, and it's going to be different for Jake when live bullets start flying. But I love that he'll be a little bit more prepared mentally when the moment does happen.
Yeah, because like going back to what Dauber said earlier, you know what I'm saying, now that you don't have a Gaston Moore anymore, because it was kind of like, when Gaston Moore came in, there was just that he was that comfort blanket, you know what I'm saying? Because he's been in the system, a little bit longer than Nico. He knew how to run the offense. Like if Nico went down with an injury, his number was called and you felt a little bit more confident, right? But with Jake coming in, it does, even now, what Joey Halls was saying is that it gives you a little bit more comfortable too, that Jake is starting to kind of settled in, trying to, understand the offense a little bit more and stuff, because Albert wasn't wrong earlier. Like, I mean, knock on wood, everything else, not trying to say it into existence. But if something does happen to Nico, yeah, I mean, we just need that guy to step up and to make plays for us and to win us ball games.
Let me hit a couple of chats real quick. The Legacy C becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate you, brother. Luke Thompson for 2 says return after leaving in the middle of the stream fee. I wish everybody would do that. Okay. I appreciate the $2 super chat. Thank you, Luke. Appreciate it, brother. The chat, it's Kaner's birthday. It is Kaner's birthday, and the chat is saying you didn't wish him. You didn't wish the man happy birthday.
You.
Oh,
this
man.
could end badly. I'm going to call him. They said I should call him and wish him happy birthday. I'm going to put it on speaker.
Birthday,
and I hope he doesn't say
Kaner.
Let's see what happens.
Can
you all hear this?
Mm-hmm. Why are you calling me so late, Boogie?
Can you all hear that?
Yeah.
Happy birthday to Kaner.
Kaner.
Happy birthday
What's going on, man?
Kaner.
Sitting there with the wifey. Well, you see, I'm doing a live stream, Kaner. I got 200 people watching live right now. And you're live, so don't say anything inappropriate. Don't let this be like the night you were driving back from Columbus and you said a bunch of inappropriate things. So they can hear you. You're on speakerphone. Say hello, Talkin VAWLS. Say hello.
Hello, Talkin VAWLS fam. How we
doing?
Doing good. Happy birthday, Kaner.
They said we're doing good. You see, everybody in the chat is pissed because we're listening to Joey Halsley, we're listening to Tim Banks, and I said, oh, there's Kaner. Shout out Kaner. It's his birthday. And they all told me that I am a horrible friend because I didn't tell you happy birthday today. So I thought I would call you live on air in front of 200 people. I know you don't know what 200 live viewers looks like.
Yeah, I definitely don't.
You don't know what 30,000 subscribers looks like. But
I mean, are we wishing me happy birthday, or are we just dragging me through the mud here? What's going on?
Don't take this, Gainer. Don't
Happy
take
birthday.
it.
Coach Jay said, "Don't
Happy
take
birthday.
this. You don't deserve this."
Happy birthday, big dog.
I just wanted to call you live on air and tell you happy birthday. What are you? 23, 24?
25.
I'm old, but I'm not as old as you are, but I'm old. I'm 32 today.
32. Best hair in the business.
32.
Best hair in the business. By the way, Kate.
I appreciate you giving me a shout out and giving me a call. I've been waiting all day for you to wish me happy birthday.
I know. I'm not Ryan
Burn.
Shumpert. I'm not Austin Price. I'm not Ben McKee. But I'm shouting you out live on air to 4,000 live viewers. So I just wanted to say happy birthday. And we're going to get together soon. Kaner wants to come on and do some talking balls. So maybe in the next week or two.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I appreciate the shout out. Everybody have a great Thursday night. And I mean, I don't know. You must not have much plans to be hanging out with Boogie on a Thursday or on a Wednesday night, but hey, I like it.
I know. It is what it is. Everybody for Kaner's birthday, go subscribe to Locked On Vols. That's my birthday gift to you.
I love it. Appreciate you, man.
All right, Kaner. Later, buddy.
See you guys.
He just hung up and was like, "What in the hell just
I
happened?"
know, right? We caught him totally off guard. He's like, man, are you talking ish about me, or are you happy birthday? What's going on?
Foul Ming says, with friends like Boogie, who needs enemies? I mean, I just shouted the man out on his birthday, and hopefully you guys will go sub him up. But all of you guys are already subbing him up. I know it. All right, let's keep this thing rolling.
When you maybe look to his production on the field, where do you think is the number one priority for him that you would like him to take the next step?
Yeah, I think for all of us, as an offense, is hitting the big plays when they present themselves.
Yes.
It's hard in this league to get big plays, and when they present themselves, you got to make them. You're never going to bat 1,000. You're not going to hit 100%, but we got to hit those at a higher clip this year. From O-line to quarterback to wide out to back to tight end, we've all got to step up, and we got to make those plays.
How do you feel that Jake is able to learn more from Nico now compared to last year at this time?
Yeah, I think when you first get here at this time, you're just trying to learn your job. You're just trying to learn, like, how do I go on the field and call this play correctly and get my eyes in the right spot so I don't look bad. That's like the classic freshman thing, is I just don't want to go out there and not do good. He's done with that. He's way past that now. So now he's taking the grasp of, man, what can I learn from how he plays, how he sees? They're talking through intricacies of a play. And yeah, we have our base rules, but okay, what about when this happens? How'd you see that? Like, you're seeing a ton of conversation between those two after every play, because the two of them have a really good working relationship together.
Joey, at wide receiver over the past couple of seasons, you guys have brought in talented freshmen that you've recruited, and maybe those guys haven't made a huge impact as freshmen. Now with the room the way it's looking now, you might need a Travis Smith or some of those guys to play a lot more. How do you expedite that process for them to get them to be a little bit more ready, and you get to a point where you just kind of have to throw them out there and there's a season and see how it goes?
Yeah, there's a little bit of both, right? No matter what a true freshman looks like going through spring and fall camp, you don't really know what you have until you get under the lights in front of 100,000 people. And now what's somebody going to act like? Both those guys are mature beyond their years that are here right now. They're playing really well. They have the physical traits that hold up, where they don't feel like they're going to get broken when they step out on the field. So now it's our job to make sure that the learning process isn't what keeps them off the field. And then they have to go show that against elite competition, they can go make plays. It ends up being, you can know what to do, you can be in the right spot all the time, but if we throw the ball to you, are you going to go make that play? And that's what the young guys are pressing to make sure they get themselves in that spot.
A lot of change on the offensive line. Two new transfers, of course, David Sanders. I know shoulder pads day one today, but what have you seen from that group here in the early stages?
Yeah, I've been pleased with what I've seen so far. It's one of the best things that's going on in that room is there's a ton of competition, like you said, but it's healthy competition. It's us all trying to work in the same direction, so the team is where it needs to be while everyone's fighting to get on the field. So there's a bunch of mixing and matching. Different guys are going with the 1s, 2s, 3s every single day, and it makes for a really fun camp when there's that much competition, especially at that, because that's what makes you go. And they've done a really good job the first 3 days.
We just we can't put enough emphasis on the fact that there was no competition in the offensive line room last year.
Yep.
There was
veteran guys.
There was no having to fight and claw and scratch every day. As a matter of fact, it was how do I do as little as possible so I don't get hurt? So I can, get through the season okay. Not the
Yeah.
case this year, guys. This year, you better go out there and fight for it. If you think you're going to show up out of shape and lazy and flopping around like we saw out of Lance Hurd this year, you're going to be on the bench, and someone that's hungry is going to go take that spot from you.
And that's what I mean. We talked about it Friday. You brought that up, and it had never crossed my mind. And man, I like it's so true. And that's what happens when you stack recruiting classes and you build that competition. Like, don't ever let anybody be comfortable. You're replaceable. If you're replaceable, then all of a sudden you're going to give a good old Butch Jones 63 effort. But if you're not replaceable, if you're like, I'm the GOAT, like nobody's replacing me, then all of a sudden you can say and you can do whatever you want. But if you're replaceable, things change really quick.
Yep, exactly. And the one thing I will say about, this offense going into this season too, because I think, they were talking about Nico and how his improvement and stuff as well. Get him more involved with the running game. You have to get him more involved with the running game. And I get it, like, the first couple of games, like Chattanooga, Kent State, all that. I get it. It was very vanilla, didn't really see as much. But it's like towards the end of the season, like, I think it was, I said during the Alabama game or the Florida game, like when we saw a glimpse of Nico getting involved with the running game with Dylan Sampson, like it really worked. And I mean, like I get it, like Nico, we know Nico's got the arm and we know that. But yeah, just get him a little bit more involved with the running game because we have more success. Obviously, we want to run the ball first, but if you just get Nico involved with that running game just a little bit more and be more consistent and execute it well, then I mean, this team is going to be set up with success a lot.
How much of that relies on Jake understanding the offense? Jake, like last year, Jake was a freshman, and yeah, you had Gaston Moore. Can you rely on Gaston Moore to go out and beat a Florida, go out and beat an Alabama, go out and beat an SEC opponent? I think he could manage the offense. I don't think you could really rely on him to go out and beat an elite SEC team. Do you have that trust in Jake? And if you do, then, Nico's a wild card, man. You can go out there and you can play loose and free. But if he's the only guy in the room, that's what leads you to be more cautious with him.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully too with him, let's say he put on a little bit, some more weight and stuff. Cause like I said, there were times like I hope Nico's learned just to kind of slide or to get down a lot better. Cause that was the thing too, is that, I say that like, yeah, we got to get involved with the running game. But then of course you don't want to run him too much because like I said, like at 215, like, Coach, what you was saying earlier, 215 is good weight and everything. But now that he's at 225 now, that's real good weight. That's good football weight, So now that he can take some of those hits more. So now that he's put on more weight, then yeah, man, utilize him in the run game, man. Like I said, he's put on a few more pounds. He could take some of those hits, not too many though, but he can withstand more than what he did last season.
Sure, and I think we all, even last year, carrying a little less weight, we saw that dog, right? We saw him put his head down a couple times. Certainly even saw it at the high school level out here in California. Nico's got no problem doing that. And I want to see really good reads. I know there was times last year where we felt like, at least me, there were plays where there were handoffs where the run was there. And it was like, is he being told to hold it? Because it's almost like you could see that he saw it. So I'm really anxious to see the RPO game. I think it can be a huge growth point specifically in that run pass option game.
And I think sometimes is it an RPO or is it a straight give? Like, is he hearing the headset? Hey, this is hand the football off, right? Like, we don't know.
And then another thing is too, I hope we gotten a little bit better at the red zone too. Because like I said, there were times we actually kind of struggled in the red zone too. Towards the end of the season, we gotten a little bit better. But I just hope that from the start, going on forward, we get a lot better in the red zone area.
I think Ethan Davis and Mike Matthews can be red zone weapons. Like Ethan Davis, me and Coach talked about it Friday. Like he was his
dog.
Body looks so like he is a dude. He is a dude. I'm excited to see. And having Kitzelman back, man, they talked about, you talk about leadership, that they're praising him for his leadership role. All right, let's hear more from Coach Halsley.
when you did a self scout, I know you talked about making the plays that are there. When you did a self scout this winter, what did you take away from last year that is the bucket or the priority list, punch list, if you will, to really improve on now? And secondly, how beneficial is an extra set of eyes like a Seth Luttrell just being in the room with the experience that he has to help you?
Yeah, main thing we took away was we left a lot out there on the field. We had a lot of opportunities to go make big plays, and for whatever reason, from us on the sideline to the guys on the field, it didn't fall that way. That's a big part of what we've talked about is hitting those deep balls, hitting those big crossing routes at a high clip. Getting a guy like Seth in here, like whenever you have good football coaches in the building, man, that's a positive thing. So extra set of eyes that know what they're looking at, have been through it, have done it at a high level. Having those guys in the room, having those guys in the building is always a huge asset.
He's making great points, but I'm just thinking how much I like that hoodie.
Flashed a few times last year. What's the next step for him, and what does he need to be for Nico to help Nico?
Yeah, I think what you said is kind of my answer to the question. He flashed last year. He needs to go from a guy that's flashing to a guy that we can consistently week in, week out. That's a guy you can target. It doesn't matter who they have on him. He's got the skill set. He's got the ability to go win. So for him, it's been about working to be really technical. He's getting his strength and his weight up. He's working at a really high level, which is allowing him to play at a high level right now. And that's one of the things from kind of like what I said with Jake. Your first year, a lot of times you're trying to just learn and do the right thing. And now you're getting into the detail of, okay, now I know what route to run. How do I run this best versus this look, versus this look, versus this look? What are my adjustments? And he can keep growing into a guy where between him and Nico, like, man, I know where my guy's going to be and I can give him the ball.
Yep.
So you talked a little bit about the offensive line, particularly those two transfers with Sam and Wendell. What did you guys like that you saw from them at their other stops, and how do you think they can come in and help you?
Yeah, a bunch of guys that have played football, one at a high level. Like, that the guys that they're playing against are real dudes, and they're guys that, I don't know what all the stats are, but you didn't see them give up pressures. You saw them in the run game being able to physically move people. They're guys that can step in there right from the beginning if they end up on the field, and they will look like they're supposed to be out there on an SEC offensive line. They can think well, they can move well, they've got the size, the strength. They can hold up in the run game, they can hold up in the pass game, we can move bodies with them. So they're two guys that allow you to be really versatile on the offensive line with the plays that you can call either way to both guys.
With so much open competition and fresh faces across the field on offense, how do you maybe self-evaluate how those guys or position groups are reaching goals during spring practice?
Yeah, I think a lot of that with the young guys, especially in the new faces, whether they're a transfer or a freshman, is you got to take the first couple days with a grain of salt. Like, some guys will come flying out the gate because it's the same install they've been doing for a week, and now you put something new on them and maybe they slow down a little bit, or vice versa. Guys are a little slower and then they hit the ground running. So with any of the new faces, with any of the new guys, the biggest thing is just keep getting them on the field, keep getting reps with them, and you get a picture over time and not making a snapshot decision with, like, after 4 days, it's like, all right, that's the guy. It's like, man, you really don't know the answer to that question. They still haven't been out there in a scrimmage set with no coaches behind them, with no help, where they're completely on their own. So all that, as we just keep working through spring, into summer, into fall, is going to kind of help shape what this unit looks like at the end.
I love spring ball. I'm so excited. I said it at the top of the show, man. I'm excited. I'm excited about new blood, fresh blood, young blood. Like, I am excited about this 2025 team. I don't know that a lot of people are, but what Coach Halsley is saying there is true. Nobody's winning the starting job in spring camp. No, nobody's moving. And even like, that's why I wanted to watch the David Sanders press conference, but we're already 2 hours and 15 minutes in. I think we would have legitimately hit 3 hours had we watched that. But I loved what he said of, I'm trying to grasp the offense. I'm trying to learn the offense. I'm trying to go out and do my job. I'm not worried about the depth chart. If I go out and I do what I need to do and I learn the offense, I think I'm one of the best 5 offensive linemen on this team, and I'm gonna figure it out when push comes to shove. Like, I love that mindset. Nobody's earning that starting job in spring ball, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for David as well. And the great thing about it is, we got the Leos right to make sure David's ready, or you're going to have a good idea.
Did you listen to his press
You're going
conference?
to have a good yes.
He's talking about
You're
going
gonna have
against James Pierce in college football playoff practice.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to have a good understanding of what he can and can't handle because we got nothing but dudes on our D line.
Yes, we
So,
do.
yep.
I mean, you're going against a first round draft pick, and he was like, it kind of in one way, like it's like being a freaking blue belt in jiu-jitsu, and you go against a purple belt or a brown belt, and it's like, well, he didn't get me, but I didn't get him, but I felt what a freaking purple belt feels like. I felt like I know what a brown belt feels like, but I still held my own. I know I need to be better because my goal is I got to get him. I want to tap him. I want to submit him.
Yeah.
But he's been in the game way longer than me, and I held my own. And that's kind of the vibe I got from David Sanders was I held my own going against the first round draft pick, but I still need to be better. Gosh, so good, man. So good.
Yep.
Iron sharpens iron.
It does. It does. And you're talking about a true freshman versus a grown-ass man that's about to be a first-round draft pick. David Sanders is going to be something special, man. He's going to be something special.
Again, following up with that, I know you got to wait and see, but what do you think you have in DeJuan Morris?
I think you got a guy that's got a chance to be a big play potential guy when he has the ball in his hand.
A
He's got
dude.
flashes where he can put a foot in the ground and get north and south really quickly. He's got high end speed. He's got really good wiggle. So for him, again, it's going to come down to, yeah, we know what you can do with the ball in your hands, but are you going to protect the quarterback when the ball's not in your hands? Are you going to be in the right spot at the right time?
Every freshman running back.
Follow the right track, so we're not taking negatives on a play that should have hit inside and you bounced it. So with young backs, a lot of times early, you see the flashes of what they can be. And for them getting on the field and contributing at a young age, it's all the stuff that maybe you don't see as much that we got to go do a good job in film evaluation or practice. Like, yeah, he's ready or he's not quite there yet.
For William Satterwhite, what does this offseason look like for him? And if he is a guy that earns a starting job, what gives you confidence you can do that at a high level?
Yeah, with Sat, big thing for him was just the size and strength of going from a freshman offensive lineman to now you're in your second year in a program and going and holding up for 17 weeks on an SEC schedule. So that's first and foremost with the guys up front is they have to be able to physically not just survive, but physically dominate up front for 17 weeks. What gives you a ton of confidence about him is that he's a highly, highly intelligent guy. He was a guy that from the time he got here knew the calls, knew where he was supposed to go, could make the adjustments. It didn't seem like he was a true freshman out there mentally. And now that his physicality is matching up to that, you're excited about what he can do, replacing a guy like Cooper Mays out there, that position where you couldn't show Coop something he hadn't seen before. Now, he hasn't played that much ball, so I'm not saying it's the same thing, but you feel like he can get himself into that same place.
Yeah, centers.
That's confident to hear, though. It really is.
Yeah, because centers, it's a mental position, man. It really is. You have to be another quarterback on the field. You really, really do. And having the mental capacity to do so is what made it hurt so bad when Mays was out, when he did miss time these past few years. So having someone who can be the gas pedal, be the transmission of that car driving down the street is a really encouraging comment.
And the fact that too, like, earlier in Nico's press conference, they were saying like, well, how much pressure is it for you to go to Satterwhite and say, hey, like, do you need a block here? Or, there's just a miscommunication off the snap count and stuff. And he was just like, well, he's like, there's not too much pressure. Cause like you said, like Satterwhite, like Joey Hauser just said, like he knows the offense and he knows where he needs to be at certain points. And him and Nico have that great communication. So it's going to be really exciting to see how, they both communicate with that because, yeah, I mean, Satterwhite, man, has some big shoes to fill, man, after losing Coop, man. It's a huge shoes to fill.
And how Cooper Mays was what? What was he eating? Was he what, like 6'2"?
Yeah, I think like 6'2", 6'3".
He was not very big.
Because I know Satterwhite, I looked it up the other day. I think he's like 6'3", 300. Actually, no, he was 6'4", 310.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There is no way Coop weighs 310.
You're calling BS.
That's pro wrestling 101.
I'm
like you're
calling
5'9",
BS
240, and you're like, I'm 6'2", 310. It's like I don't believe for a second that Coop was 310. I may be wrong.
Yeah, interesting.
Anyways, man, I'm excited. I'm fired up. Like I get it. I'm probably a little bit more excited than most people, but I love spring ball. Ball is ball, and that's what we're here to talk about. We're going to continue to talk
Ball is
recruiting.
ball.
Wanted to
Ball
talk
is
some
ball.
recruiting with Coach Jay tonight, but that's not going to happen because we're 2 hours and 20 minutes into it. May make a video tomorrow talking some recruiting. Sunday. We're going to go live at 6:30 EA Sports College Football next Wednesday, 7 o'clock, and then maybe do a fan call-in show the following Sunday. I will let you guys know. Make sure you're dialed in. Subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Look at the clown that shows up. After a 2 hour and 20-minute stream, he's like, I'm here to talk. Nope, Brad, you're not here to talk. The show is over. You disappointed us. You let us down. Brad, no more excuses. But man, it's been a fun night. I told you guys it was going to be a long one because there was so much to get into, and we still didn't even watch the David Sanders stuff. That could have been another 20 to 30 minutes of content, but regardless, still a fun night. Shout out to Dauber for coming on, Coach Jay, the X Factor. By the way, I called up Kaner. I said, happy birthday. X Factor's going to be a daddy. Congratulations,
congrats,
bro.
man.
Congrats, dude. When I saw
Yeah,
that,
that's
I was
awesome.
like, your life is about to change. So congrats, my man. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I'm still in disbelief myself, and I'm pretty sure that's normal. I said a little nervous, but I'm excited, man. I really am. We're still a little early. Like I said, we're still at 11 weeks. We don't know what we're having yet. She wants to go ahead and do, the peekaboo, gender reveal by blood sample. She wants to do all that. She's so impatient, but either way, man, like I said, boy or girl, like I said, I'm gonna love it for eternity, no matter what.
By the way, if you need somebody to do a gender reveal video, I'm available because I've already done one. Somebody hit me up on Facebook and said, Boogie, this is going to sound weird, but a bunch of our friends are coming together to do gender reveal videos. Will you do one? I said, sure, I'll do one. He was like, are you serious? I said, yeah, I'll do one. So I did a video. They played it. His wife was blown away. She was like, I cannot believe that you got Boogie to do this. And then all of his buddies were like, what the hell? What just happened? Boogie is doing a gender. Hey, man, hit me up. Weddings,
I will.
bar mitzvahs, gender reveals. I'm basically like a prostitute. But that is going to do it for tonight for Coach Jay, for the X Factor. My name's Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
That we call home and it's night and I'm alone and